Test, 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 test.
Check, check,
I
check.
think this is the right one, yeah. Test, test, test.
Lowering the shoulder.
Swing and a miss. McGinley scores!
And good morning from Orchard Lake. And in front of Orchard Lake St. Mary's, we've got coverage of the Latty Cup in its 16th year. My name is Chad Bush alongside Michael Parker. And we've got a great program ahead for you today. 28 races in totality. Michael, 15 schools. We're going to have a great day of a regatta for a great cause.
Over 200 athletes joining us here today. A lot of them coming in last night, staying overnight here. Just dedication to the sport. A lot of fast racing today.
43 degrees, but this is what it's all about. The tradition will continue. We'll hear from the bench boss of the Orchard Lake St. Mary's rowing team, Chris Zarnecki. And that comes up next. We're looking forward to a full day of coverage, 28 races right here. It's the Latty Cup in its 16th year, and it comes up next. Thanks for being here, and thanks for watching.
Lowering the shoulder.
Swing and a miss. McGinley scores!
Welcome back to the Latty Cup, year 16. Can you believe it? We're here. It's cold, but we know that this is a warm event and something we look forward to. And we look forward to head coach Chris Zarnecki joining us now and tell us about this year, this team, and just kind of let's get right into this team and how special it's been on both sides of the genders, which has become a tradition here at St. Mary's in its 5th year.
Yeah, it has. You know, that definitely been a welcome addition having the ladies join us here, and they picked up right where the boys, started. Right, like there was no drop off insofar as like the level of commitment, the level of intensity, the camaraderie. Right, like they are one of us. Right, there really is. It's almost as though there's no gender. There's just that side of the team, this side of the team. But insofar as the standards, the execution, it is absolutely aligned. And we've seen it, so far this year, we've gotten some really encouraging results. On the boys' side, we had a great result last weekend, winning the 1V, 2V, and 3V at Mitten Series number 2, which was really, really impressive for us, again, showing that we got some depth, right? That we're going to be a tough out when it comes time for the state championship. You're really going to have to put together a whole squad to get in front of us. And then on the girls' side, like they have just elevated it, right? Absolutely elevated it with some of the results that they've pulled this year, getting in front of some of Midwest's fastest, Loyola Academy, St. Joseph Academy, who's here today. So this women's V8 final should be an absolute banger. Looking forward to it.
Jack Laddie LeBlanc, the reason for the great event here today, the Latty Cup in its 16th year.
Yep.
You've been a strong part of this and continued this tradition since you've been the head coach.
Yeah.
You know Jack. You know what he was all about.
I do.
A character of characters, a man of strength, humor, wit, just so many characteristics. Talk about Jack. Talk about your memories with him and what comes to mind.
Well, Jack literally got me the job here. Right, he was the guy who introduced me to Jim Glowacki, the then headmaster, and said, hey, this guy can coach and he can teach. Get him in, right?
It's pretty good.
I mean, honestly, like that was the long and the short of it, and I did. I got to sit down with with Jim Glowacki. We were able to have a conversation, and fortunately there was an English opening, and that was the summer of 2004, right? And then I've been here since. But like at the same time, I've known the LeBlanc family for a long, long time. Know Don from out on the west side of the state, his work with Forest Hill Central.
Sure.
I helped out there for a little bit while I was in university, and I coached his sons, Kevin and James, when they were at Grand Valley. So well versed with the LeBlanc clan.
Yeah. And there, a lot of them, they collected here today earlier for a photo. And that had to be fun to get them all together. They run deep, and there's a Kratori that we'll talk about as the tradition continues with Jack's granddaughter, great-granddaughter. Let's get to today. It's important. You've already ran one race. You mentioned about some of the results, but today is to tune up and get ready for Midwest, and you also have a tradition here now of winning as you won back-to-back now. So a lot at stake here today. What's at stake for you?
You know, really what you want to see is that the crews are continuing to elevate their performance, that there is no stagnation, that the details are making themselves manifest in the race, right? Like the little things that you're working on week in, week out, that you're seeing cleaner releases, you're seeing cleaner and crisper entries, that, you know, that message is getting home to the athlete. They know it's not just hang off the handle, it's how you enter the water, it's how you release the water, so that we want to see that the quality of the rowing is continuing to improve, because next week is no joke, right? It is absolutely fast traffic. And if you really don't have these details dialed in, you're going to be watching on Sunday.
You've talked about the depth, but you've also had high-end performers, and you've had young men and women go on to continue their rowing careers, and that tradition continues this year with several.
Yeah, with the women's side. This is going to be a tough one to top, right? All 7 of our senior girls will be rowing at the D1 level next year, which is just wildly impressive, right? And you know, like big schools like Rutgers, Duquesne, Indiana, Louisville, Minnesota, the University of Washington. I mean, this is just, I know them personally, so, you know, I know the kind of people they are, the kind of athletes they are. And in some regards, like, that's not surprising, right? Like, you meet these girls and you know that they are high-level people, right? But, you know, for someone who maybe doesn't have that sort of relationship, you see that and you're like, wow, all of them? Yeah, all of them.
This is your home meet. This is your one home meet of the year. You have a community that's come out today in droves, and I know there's other schools here, 15 of them, but your school has supported you in this event, in this program. How nice is it to have a home meet?
Oh, it's massive. I mean, like, you know, it's a great way to reconnect with some of the alumni that come out for this. You know, even if it's just first years away, right? Like, I had a great chat with a number of our grads from last year. Like, hey, how'd the first year go? Did you keep your head above water? How the grades doing, you know? But then some of the other guys that, you know, I haven't seen in like 15 years, it's like, brother, what's up? You know, I got a family now. I got a mortgage, right? I'm a real adult, you know? So, and two, for them to also come back and catch up with each other and still feel connected to the team and see how the team's coming along. Like, to me, that's the real measure of our effect, right? Like, how much these people still care years, decades after having rowed here at St. Mary's. They still want to be a part of it because they know how transformative it was for them.
He's Czar, and he's the head coach of Orchard Lake St. Mary's rowing on the men's and the women's, and we appreciate your time. Thanks for having us back out.
Thanks for coming out.
We love
really
it.
Appreciate it.
We enjoy it, and
awesome.
We look forward to providing coverage today. Thanks to you and the great folks at Orchard Lake St. Mary's Rowing. Back with more. Let's get this party started in Orchard Lake. It's chilly, but we're ready for the action. Bring all the smoke. Come on back to the Preps coverage of Latty Cup 2026 right after this. But sit with us. You're a part of this. Yeah. Well, no. I'm not saying you got to stay here. Welcome back. Chad Bush and Michael Parker with you. Hope you enjoyed the conversation with Chris Zarnicki. And Michael, look, I know for you as an alum, this is special. Talk about the Latty Cup and what it means for you is we have race number 1 underway. It's the men's first varsity 8, and you were looking live at this boat. Michael, what should we know about this boat for Orchard Lake St. Mary's?
A little different here at Latty Cup. We're starting off with kind of what's broadly considered a premier event, the men's varsity 8. Right now we have a close race we're looking at with lane 2. St. Edward's joining us here, and at last look from the drone we saw St. Mary's in second spot there. But really a really tight race here coming up in really the last 200 meters. From our vantage point, Chad, looks like we got still St. Edward's in that first place lead, but St. Mary's doing a good push here into the last, I'd call it 10 strokes or so. It's coming down to St. Ed's and St. Mary's here. And appears as though St. Mary's is just taking the lead here.
St. Mary's, the Coxes, John Brown. We'll talk to John coming up. Caju, Stempian, Morogi, Fox, Stewart, Janizek, Ban, and Davies. And it has just ended, and the Eaglets neck and neck.
Looks like a St. Ed's.
With St. Edward's of Cleveland.
Exactly, yes. And it came down to really that last 20 strokes. I think St. Edward's pretty much led the entire race there. And as it often does, Chad, that last 500 meters really separates the crews from each other, and all the lactic acid is going there. And we'll find out here momentarily what the official result here when the rest of the crews finish.
All right, let's take a step back. This Laddie Cup is full of 15 schools, and some have some multiple genders participating, like Orchard Lake St. Mary's. The girls, of course, established their program 5 years ago. Here's, as you saw, a look there at the finish. This is going to be a long day of 28 races, and we will feature Orchard Lake St. Mary's and some of the other schools. Obviously, St. Mary's being the focus, with this being the Laddie Cup, their only home race and regatta of the year. It's the Laddie Cup in honor of Jack LeBlanc, who coached this team and really took this program to the next level. A man with full of charisma, character, and leadership, and really took this program to the next level. Michael Parker, you rode for him, and you were part of that 1998 team that was a national champion and an international contender as well. Finished second, I believe, in the world.
Yes.
Michael, tell us what it was like in your memories of Laddie.
Well, the benefit of coming to this event brings out all the folks who came before us, and we'll hear an interview later from one of the founding oarsmen that got the program going in the late 70s. Coming in here in the 90s, you're really standing on the shoulders of giants there, and you can kind of feel that presence. And Jack was the bridge to that time, having started the program, taking it over from Judson Ross in the late 70s. And so it was you just felt that presence. And it was really kind of that fueled the fire when you get out here in the early morning, and it's cold, it's wet, it's windy, and you got this in the middle of the spring, and you're just trying to get ready for the racing season. So it was, in St. Mary's and being here this close to the water, really was the fuel for your fire as an athlete to get out there and do those folks proud and put your stamp on it, and then turn around and hand it off to the next generation. So coming back here, 16th year with the Latty Cup, it can't be a better place than the shores of Orchard Lake in early May.
43 degrees, and so these are not conditions, it's easy to get out and row in a 75 degrees sunny morning on a Saturday in July. It's cold, brother.
That's right.
It's really cold and chilly. The conditions are challenging today. It's windy out, but we're here and we're glad to bring coverage. He's Michael Parker. My name's Chad Bush. Sienna Smith is with us this year. She'll join us from the sidelines, and she'll have reports with some current student athletes as they finish their races. She will talk to John Brown, the Cox, coming up soon. She'll also talk with Khloe Filatro, Nika Latisinski, and others. The results are in from that first race, not quite yet. Pat the Stat is on the scene, and he says it was so close, Michael, they're still looking at this thing. And now there is official word. And it looks like, I thought there was official word. Perhaps not.
There's some excitement. We know we got at least a gold or a silver there between those two crews. We'll find out here momentarily. But we got the the ladies starting the start of the women's first varsity 8 following here closely behind with that race just getting started.
All right, and that women's event, let's look at that boat a little closer. Khloe Filatro, Curtin, Latisinski, Sadie Ross, Kozara, Gallegos, Labutte, and Daniels in that varsity 8 for Orchard Lake St. Mary's. And who else will join them in this race, Michael?
So we have, so what right now is from right to left. The right-hand side of your screen will be our lane 2. It starts. We don't have lane 1 of this event. So we have Pioneer in lane 2. We got Huron lane 3, St. Joseph Academy, lane 4, Northview lane 5, Forest Hill Central lane 6, Orchard Lake in lane 7, East Grand Rapids in lane 8 there from right to left.
Okay, so St. Joe's, a girls-only school in this race. They've been very competitive in the past. They have competed with St. Mary's on the girls' side for the title last year. And that's been a big part of it. Orchard Lake St. Mary's in the race along with Grand Rapids Northview. Also Ann Arbor Huron and Ann Arbor Pioneer. Did I miss anybody in that race? Which race are we on here?
Right here, sir. There you go.
Okay.
It looks right now from this vantage point, we got St. Mary's in the lead out there in lane 7. Adjacent to them in lane 8 is East Grand Rapids, is EGR there. Forest Hill Central, obviously lane 6 there. And I think that's 3 and 4 with that lane 4 St. Joseph Academy. Looks like it had a little bit of an edge over that lane 3 Huron.
All right. And so also as this program has continued to progress, there's also new technology, I understand, in the waters as of last year, and that continues to help in events like the Latty Cup in your scoring, right, and positioning?
Absolutely. I mean, we're following these results live on crewtimer.com. We can see this close coordination with the starting officials and the timing tent, an elevated platform that also will be reviewing that photo finish from the men's varsity 8. That's being still under review, I believe. All that's been just incrementally enhanced each year. We have little incremental enhancements. Last year featured our lane buoys, essentially every other lane with buoys going down, non-trivial, connected via wire. It really helps these crews, keep their alignment all 1,500 meters.
We've got a photo finish, and we do not have the final tally and the winners yet of that first race, which was the men's first varsity 8. Right now, it's the women's first varsity 8. And again, it's Orchard Lake St. Mary's.
In lane 7 with the lead, I think, right now.
East Grand Rapids, Forest Hill Central, Northview, St. Joe's Academy, Ann Arbor Huron, Ann Arbor Pioneer. And right now, Michael, who is in the lead?
I think we have our ladies of Orchard Lake out there in that far lane 7 with what right now is a commanding lead over the field there.
First place last week in the Mitten Series were the women's varsity 8. Maddie Curtin is the Cox. Avery Daniels, Sadie Ross, Nika Latisinski, Grace Kazara, Evie Ross, Sydney Labutte, and Ava Gallegos looking to stay perfect in 2026.
And Chad, the results from that men's first varsity just came in. We have less than a second delta. Orchard Lake St. Mary's over St. Edward's. We got a 4:35 spot 1-3 versus a 4:36 spot 09 on that last men's varsity 8. Finish.
So the final St. Mary's wins it.
4:35.
St. Edward's second, Huron third. That's how it finishes.
We'll go home.
How am I supposed to know that?
You're ruining my sound by that. That's sitting there.
I've heard that.
Plugging.
But how am I supposed to know that?
Update on the finals in this one.
We have Orchard Lake St. Mary's with looks like in first place there with what appears to be St. Joseph Academy. We're still waiting for this race to conclude before we get all the results.
So St. Mary's finishes first, St. Joe's Academy second, and we're waiting for the third in this women's first varsity 8. Sienna Smith will have an interview coming up shortly, and she will talk to John Brown the Cox for the men's varsity 8, and we look forward to that as we continue to look at this race that's next. Is the men's second varsity 8 that follows.
You can see from Andrew Steele's eagle eye drone coverage here. We got the start of this race. We got 4 boats in this race from right to left on your screen. St. Edwards in lane 3. We got Huron in lane 4. Orchard Lake in lane 5 and Pioneer in lane 6. Another fast presence here out of St. Edwards. You can see in that lane 3, which is up in the upper right of your screen there.
So there you see the men's second varsity 8 for Orchard Lake St. Mary's. As we are into our third race.
A little bit of open water there between St. Edwards in first place there in lane 3. And then with Orchard Lake there with some distance between themselves and Huron in lane 4. And then appears that we have a Pioneer boat in the 4th place right now.
Don Buchanan's in the house, the athletic director for the girls division of Orchard Lake St. Mary's. There's baseball going on across the way. Flag football on the girls' side going on today. And Chad Willis is committing later today. All right, a lot going on campus. Don Buchanan brings us the news. Thank you, sir. 6-0 St. Mary's leads over Toledo Central Catholic in the third. Doesn't matter. All right. In this race right now, what's going on, Michael Parker?
So this is our men's 2v8 with St. Edwards in the upper left-hand corner. That's your lane 3 boat. Pretty good, decent open water right now on what's lane 5 of the Orchard Lake. And we saw briefly there for a moment there, Huron in lane 4 appeared to be in 3rd place. And then we have a Pioneer boat that would be off to the port side of St. Mary's there in lane 6.
What's the port side for those that are not rowing nerds like you and our other viewers?
Well, it's easy convention, P-O-R-T, 4 letters, left, 4 letters. So it's left-hand side as a coxswain sitting in the stern of the boat in the back looking forward. His or her left would be the port.
So you're a lefty if you're a port in rowing language. What are you if you're a righty?
That would be a starboard, Chad. But the outside arm is the one with the leverage. So as a port, your oar is to the left, but your right arm is the one with the leverage. So, in a way, it's kind of counterintuitive there. So these sweep oars, you have 1 oar. We're looking at 8s, obviously each athlete with 1 oar. The sweep convention, very different than the scullers that we see in 2s and 4s. Those are known as pairs and doubles and quads.
I think we'll see that coming up here.
We will.
The women's varsity quad, I believe, at 104. We'll have that full schedule of today's events. We'll show that shortly. Right now, this race is coming down to the final meters. Michael Parker, this is a race with St. Edwards.
Who's in the lead right
now. Ann Arbor Huron, Orchard Lake St. Mary's, and Ann Arbor Pioneer. Just 4 boats in this men's second varsity 8 final. What do we got here?
We got the same orientation we left off at about, the first 500 meters. St. Edwards here with handsome open water relative to second place St. Mary's, who also has open water over its field, and appears that the 3rd place right now is held by Huron and then Pioneer there in lane 6.
So St. Edwards out of Cleveland, a powerhouse, national champions in 2015, and currently some of their boats have been the fastest in the varsity 8 this year. This is one of the most competitive teams in the Midwest. And they established themselves in 2012. This is St. Edward's out of Cleveland, a giant that continues to grow in Cleveland.
Yeah, if you recall, Chad, those St. Edward's and St. Mary's boat are that first varsity 8, less than a second distance there. And then the St. Edward's 2V boat here, a little bit more distance over its field, so you can just get a sense of
depth,
the depth and the talent there.
No doubt. Sienna Smith will talk to several student athletes here coming up shortly. We also spoke earlier this week with some student athletes, and we will talk to Evan Caju coming up on the other side of this timeout. We're back. Latty Cup 16. So glad you're with us on the prep. Thanks for watching. Back with more after these.
Lowering the shoulder.
Swing and a miss. McGinley scores!
We're here with junior oarsman Evan Caju for Orchard Lake St. Mary's as he gets set for the Latty Cup, an event that I know you're excited for. You guys are starting to build in your season for this event. I know this is part of things that are greater to come, but talk about so far the progress of your boats that you've been a part of. Tell us where you guys are at.
So far this season, we went to Mitten Series 1, where we struggled a little bit, fought the waves, and then we really hit a hard week of practice, where we were able to really come back. And then Mitten Series 2 is by far one of the best performances I've seen from the entire team. We swept all 3 men's 8s and then the first 2 women's 8s, which was really great for us to do, and we really came back. And so hopefully this weekend we're facing some really good competition. I'm hoping to see how we stack up against them, because this is almost a qualifier for Midwest next week, which is our main competition to qualify for nationals. So really just seeing how we stack up against the competition this weekend will be exciting for us.
Latty Cup is the event. I know it means a lot to be a rower, and this is the godfather of rowing at St. Mary's that this event is named after. What does it mean to you?
To me, it means truly representing the school, because most people at the school don't fully know much about the sport. And so if we occasionally see the teachers or some other students that come out to watch, it really means a lot. And it means more than when we're racing at other places where you don't really have the full community behind you. So really coming here and racing for the school and racing for other people that are cheering you on shore just means a lot more, in my opinion.
You mentioned rowing. Not everybody in the school knows about it and recognizes it, but when you do get to talk to them, what are their thoughts, and what's most impressive, the feedback that you get of the respect they do have for rowing at St. Mary's?
Most of the time I get comments like, oh, I didn't know that you guys had to do morning practices, or you guys had to put that much work in. So a lot of times it's more so the respect that we get for how much work we put into it, not just through individuals, but through the team itself. And then occasionally we'll have teachers come out here and like right on launch for a practice or see us launching in the morning, and then they'll talk to us about it in school. And so really it's just exciting to see when they put some interest into it. They understand the work that we're putting in. So if we are sleeping in class, they understand why.
All the best, man. Thanks for your time. Good luck today at Latty Cup.
Thank you.
All right, there he is, Evan Caju, getting ready to race today. More to come here on the prep. Right into the finish of the women's second varsity 8, our 4th race of the day. And here's a look at the boat. You see Matthias the Cox. Michael, tell us what we have here.
We got a tight race right now between lane 6 Orchard Lake and lane 5 Saline. Right now coming down to the last couple strokes here. Got about a 3-seat delta between that finish with Orchard Lake with the edge.
St. Mary's, Saline, and St. Joe's, 3 boats in it. And Orchard Lake St. Mary's.
Getting some wind kicked in here too, Chad. Starting to make the conditions a little bit rougher in this the last half of the race versus the first half. A little more shelter up the starting line, but really starts to impact that final 500 meters of the race here. But can't ask for a better day in beautiful Orchard Lake.
44 cold, cloudy degrees. And Yeah, it's a challenge, but these girls are going to bring home a first, it appears.
A lot of depth in this women's teams for sure.
It is.
This is the second varsity 8, and that first varsity 8 final, we had the final times where the St. Mary's women commanded a 7-second lead for their race against with first place there. Second place was St. Joseph Academy there in that first varsity 8 that we saw moments ago before the men's set 2V.
St. Edward's the winner in the men's second varsity 8.
Yeah, the ones that had that slight open water lead over St. Mary's and that men's 2v8. And then third was Huron and fourth was Pioneer there for that 2v men's 8.
We just finished the women's second varsity 8, the fourth race of the day. Sydney Smarecki was in that boat. Of course, another legacy kid for St. Mary's. Her father, Kenny, former Eaglet, one of my former teammates in baseball. Underrated right fielder, bullpen catcher.
91?
91.
91, baby. Nice. Good to see you.
That's the full schedule. Good to see Kenny in the booth. The Latty Cup final schedule. And so the different, where we are picking up is the men's third varsity 8. That'll be the next race. We just finished the fourth race, the women's second varsity 8. 28 races altogether.
Fourth race of the afternoon session. We had, of course, the heats this morning. Faced a lot of fast racing out there with slightly less windy conditions this morning, but that's typically how days progress here out in the lake. And then now we proceed right into these finals where we're looking for concluding sometime into the late 3 o'clock hour today.
Sienna Smith is standing by with a eaglet from the men's varsity 8, the Cox. Sienna, please tell us what you've got.
She's ready.
Here with John Brown, current senior and coxswain of the men's varsity 8 and men's varsity 4. John, take me through that race. So electric, a photo finish, less than a second of a difference between you guys and St. Ed's. Tell me, what were you saying to your crew, specifically the last 500, to get them motivated and get them through that finish line?
Yeah, I think like the big emphasis was just like staying clean and doing our rhythm. We definitely know when we row our rhythm, we're doing good. We were probably down like half a length going into the 500, so I called the sprint a little bit early, and the boys, they just gave it all. We respect St. Ed's a lot. They're a really good crew, and we knew it was going to take a lot to go in, and the last 500 they showed up, so really proud.
For sure, for sure. Now tell me, how has the crew been clicking as compared to Mitten 1, Mitten 2? What was your guys' focus in your race plan today? How did you execute it? Tell me about that.
Yeah, so I wasn't in the boat Mitten 1, so I came in Mitten 2, and they just bought in from the start. I thought that they put their heads down and they worked a lot. They didn't let anybody push them around. It would be a bad day on the water or anything. They always bought in. So this boat, we're not done. We're going into Midwest and we're ready to go. So
yeah. Speaking of Midwest, what is your focus? Anything you want to adapt, change, add? What is your plan? What are you guys going to work on this week going into practice?
Yeah, I think just like keeping it clean. Like in the last 300, we were really aggressive, but we need to just clean some small details up. And honestly, like yesterday was our first race with this whole late lineup, so we're going to get better and better. And I know that the more we're going to row with this, we're going to be better. For sure.
And I just saw you coming down after you guys finished. The energy. What is it like in the boat when you guys have a finish like that, all working together and pushing?
Yeah, I mean, at the end we were definitely nervous if we were winning or not. It was really close, but this was on our docket. We knew that we wanted to win this. St. Ed's, St. Ignatius, they're really good crews, and the fact that we were able to come out with this, like you saw the energy. We really wanted to win this, and I'm so happy we did.
For sure. For sure. Thank you, John, and good luck in the men's varsity 4 today.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much, Sienna. We appreciate it. There you heard from John Brown. Well, accomplished young man, and his boat celebrating with a victory.
Less than a second distance over that St. Ed's crew.
Photo finish. You ever been a part of a photo
Well,
finish?
this is why we got the tower, thanks to the Wright family, who's helped us construct the power of tower finish that allows us to really get the angle, the elevation, the equipment up there. And yeah, I've a very close 1/10 of a second race up in St. Catharines, Ontario, my senior year. That took a little delay while waiting for that result to hit that scoreboard in 1998. That was a fun one.
Okay. Memorable indeed. Those are things you don't forget. This is the men's third varsity final, and it includes St. Edward's B team, Ann Arbor Huron, St. Edward's A team as well, and Ann Arbor Pioneer. 5 boats.
4 boats, looks
Four
like.
boats,
Four
sorry.
boats, and we have that Edwards A right now in the lead there in the middle of your screen in lane 5, and then Edwards B looks to be in second place in lane 3 there, followed closely by Huron, then Pioneer.
All right, all right.
A little choppy out there, but for the most part, it's facing a tailwind. In my opinion, that's a better situation than having a crosswind. You can deal with it, but a little bit tough to get those blades over those waves at times, just depending on where you are in the course. And I think that starting line is a little bit more gentle than where we are at the finish here. So hopefully we can hold these conditions for what so far has been a great day of racing.
Michael, when did you, you're a Columbus native now, when did you come back? Did you
I
get
prefer
back yesterday?
transplant. I'm a transplant
Okay, I like
along
that.
the Buckeye territory. It's a unique
You're only
experience
claiming
down
them so far.
Exactly, right.
That's very fair.
Right. No,
Okay,
it's,
so when
yeah.
did you get into the old digs? When did you get back to St. Mary's here?
So I do the pilgrimage annually and was able to convince a 1996 through 95 through 97 coach of mine, Andrew Sawyer, former Syracuse rower himself, who coached us those years, lives nearby me, and we do the road trip up 3.5 hours north. And to keep it true to Old Lake roots, we stay over in the dorms, wake up with some plush accommodations on a plastic mattress. Thanks, shout out to Robin Goddard for helping us out with that. And able to roll out in 6:45 this morning and grab a banana and hit the water.
Awesome. That's and you helped this morning get all the boats in. You get the teams off and running, and that's an early day to get things started like that.
Well, Chad, we got a wave of 12 former rowers themselves, alums that are out there officiating, keeping these boats aligned. We have another, call it 6 or so at the starting line that are helping with the calling commands and getting boats up to the course. And then just the ushering of these crews from the dock all the way up the shoreline, and there's a lot of orchestration happening there.
That's the St. Edward's Eagle. And so now that's the Eagle. Where's the Eaglet? Where's the Orchard Lake St. Mary's Eaglet mascot? Will there be a battle today between the Eagles and the Eaglets? Of course, on the water, but will something happen with these mascots? Whoa, Nilly.
Time will tell. We'll have to see.
The wind is just a whipping back here in this nice 43-degree weather. Look, nobody said it would be beautiful conditions, which makes that much more of an appreciated experience from what these rowers are going through, Michael.
I mean, as you just saw, we got some fellas here in this St. Edward's boat with tank tops on, or unisuits, if you will, that disregarding this temperature and just laying it in line here with that St. Edward's A boat here in the lead. Comfortable open water over the field, and it appears that their own B boat is holding that second place steady as well.
All right, men's third varsity 8 about to finish. The women's third varsity 8 is next. The Eaglets without a boat in this race.
In the current third varsity men's boat, there's just 4 boats without a St. Mary's boat in this race.
Who is approaching the finish here?
That's St. Edward's A. Comfortable open water, many lengths to their B boat, St. Edward's B.
All right, so back-to-back St. Edward's victories.
And it appears that Huron's taking the third place here with about 5 more strokes left here.
Or I should say 2 of the last 3 races St. Edward's has taken. It's an all-boys school. They could not enter the women's second varsity A. But you get my point. St. Edward's is here. And look, they're trying to disrupt this St. Mary's streak in the Latty Cup. And the 2-year streak is on the line. were at Latty Cup champions last year, and first year they've ever won it back-to-back in the 15, now 16 years of the event. Chris Sarnecki, 21 years a coach, 15 of them at Orchard Lake St. Mary's. And here we go as we get ready for the women's third varsity 8. Zawicki is the Cox. Hames. Let me get my notes here. Sorry, I got pronunciations and everything. I'm not going to attempt this without a pronunciation sheet. This is a team that certainly has some pronunciations that you need to know. And let me get this out here.
While you're looking that up, Chad, we have at the top of your screen at St. Mary's Boat. This is the women's third varsity 8. We have a lead over what appears to be St. Joseph Academy there in that lane 4, which with only 3 boats in this race, and then Pioneer boat there in the middle. But keep an eye on that St. Joseph Academy as we come into roughly coming up on the halfway point of this course. So this will be really interesting to see this second half. It's really you need to dig deep and show everything what you got as far as the training that's gone into this race. It all comes down to this last segment here.
Zawicki, the Cox, Hames, Sherone, Freiberger, Goldsmith, Messina, Jules Mikolajczyk, Ava Kratori, and Valentino.
Those large orange buoys signify that last 500-meter mark here. So this is the last third of the race. You can see the ladies of St. Mary's on the right-hand side there out in lane 6 with the lead over St. Joseph Academy. And again, looks like Pioneer is in the third position here.
All right. Some standouts in this boat. It's a boat that has done some work already this year. And look, the women's side for St. Mary's has been not just a contender since they started. I mean, they've rose to the fact that they're favorites in this event. And they've got national champion expectations, just like on the boys' side.
Well, let's just review real quick. So far the sequencing of the women's varsity boats, we have the St. Mary's ladies with the first varsity taking first place there in their events. The women in the second varsity taking first in their event. And here we have the third varsity finishing here with the last 250 meters coming down here with
what are we looking at
looking
here
at
on the
about
far right?
A length lead over their contenders in lane 4 with St. Joseph Academy, and then Pioneer there in third place.
St. Mary's on the far right, St. Joseph Academy on the far left in second, and then in third is Ann Arbor Pioneer. St. Mary's trying to win their third straight in 3 attempts. On the boys' side, it was St. Mary's winning the first varsity 8, and then St. Edward's cleaning up the next 2 events, the second varsity 8 and also the third varsity 8. So it's been St. Mary's and St. Ed's all victorious so far in all 6 of these first races of 28. Well, we're assuming a St. Mary's win here. I think, is it official?
Pretty close. I mean, it was, unless we have an issue with, looks to be a clean race, no hands raised. Those officials are giving us the clean race signal on their flag, relaying that to the time tents. I think it's safe to say we marked that finish there with Orchard Lake number 1, St. Joseph Academy number 2, and then Pioneer in third place there.
All right. We'll have Khloe Filatro coming up at 12:45, and she will speak to her finish as the Cox for the women's varsity 8 and the women's varsity 4. But she was led that women's first varsity 8 to victory in that second race.
Heading out to UW, right?
That's right.
Nice.
That's right. University of Washington. Going to be a Husky. That is elite territory. Czar was telling us about it, and he was talking about you know, it's like you have the chance to race in your home course and practice in your home course, which is in Washington.
Right. Boys in the Boat, that's where it all started there.
Yeah.
You know, you got the West Coast heritage there as, you know, an alum of Boathouse Row in Philadelphia. I have some thoughts on that location as well, but great historic areas to you know, to continue your collegiate career, absolutely.
Michael rode at University of Pennsylvania and was a Quaker. And Michael, what years were you a part of that program?
So I left St. Mary's as 160 pounds, 6'4", quote unquote heavyweight in the engine room of that 8 there. Got recruited as a lightweight to the Penn program. That lasted after the freshman 15 went the other direction. That fall, I transitioned over to the heavyweights, and from '98 to 2002 there as a Penn Quaker on the Schuylkill.
Okay. Did you have a chance to row out at Washington ever?
The only West Coast trip we did was the San Diego Crew Classic, and there's a little story of what used to be called the Orchard Lake Crew Classic. It was the forming years in 2010, and then there was some concern over naming rights of that, and so then we quickly pivoted to the Latty Cup in 2014. So the first couple of years we were actually calling it the Crew Classic, just getting it off the grounds, and that event still goes on out in San Diego down the West Coast.
Awesome. This is the start of the men's novice 4. And we do have the results, I believe, of that previous race. The women's 3rd varsity 8. And St. Mary's did win it. Is that official?
We're still waiting for the times, but
Okay.
We do anticipate an Orchard Lake finish there in first. Next up, we'll have these the men's novice 4 with the benefit of a coxswain. That's what the plus signal signifies there. And as you can see from the drone coverage, there can be a little bit of a challenge. Novice rower, first-time rower, getting them aligned, all 8 across. You're getting into a chute with some wind that's pushing you around. Lanes 3, 4, and 5 are at the mercy of 6 and 7 and 1 and 2, making sure they're in their respective spots. So again, non-trivial task, getting these crews all up at the start, lines as close as you can, the ball ball lined up, you know, in succession there, and then doing it all on time. So far we're on schedule, which is tremendous. Shout out to all the officiating crew out there doing a bang-up job keeping this race running efficiently.
You bet. All right, we're going to step aside for a moment. We've got a pre-recorded interview with Lucy Sherone. That comes next. You're watching the Preps coverage of Latty Cup in its 16th year. We're here with sophomore Lucy Sherone, Orchard Lake St. Mary's, and getting ready for Latty Cup. You did this last year as a freshman. You're back. What are you seeing the difference in yourself as a rower in year 2?
I think just the difference between like novice and varsity is just, it's a big jump, but I do think like becoming a varsity has just helped me grow as like a person, as a teammate, and it's really just, I don't know, helped me for the better.
Tell us about the seat you're in and the boats that you're in today.
I'm in the women's 3v8, I'm 7 seat, and then I'm in the women's 2v quad. I'm bow, so I'm steering. Yeah.
So far, the progress from the start of the year to now, and I know you've only had a race or 2, but what are you seeing in the team and the cohesiveness and the bonding so far?
I think with the bonding, like we just, since it's a very like, we depend on each other, it's very like we grow together as people, and it really just helps us like we just connect. And come closer.
Like a lot of oarsmen and oarswomen, you don't have experience rowing coming in, like several other traditional sports. What's that been like for you? Were you adjusting from a sport you played previously to rowing, and is there any correlation in that?
I mean, I played a bunch of different sports as a kid with like swimming and softball, so no, like nothing really like this where it's like hands-on and everyone really matters. It's definitely different, but I think adjusting, it was really great for me to just be able to have teammates to depend on and to really go close with other people.
Awesome. Good job, Lucy.
Thank you.
All the best today.
Thanks.
All right, that's Lucy Charlone. More to come from Orchard Lake St. Mary's, the home of the Latty Cup, right after this.
Lowering the shoulder.
Swing and a miss. McGinley scores!
Hope you enjoyed that interview with Lucy Charlone. We've got more coverage as it continues here for the Latty Cup 2026. My name is Chad Bush alongside Michael Parker. And standing by, we've got Sienna Smith with a special guest. Sienna, take it away.
Here with Khloe Filatro, current senior and coxswain of the women's varsity 8 and varsity 4, committed to Cox at University of Washington next fall. What an accomplishment. Huge congratulations, Khloe.
Thank you so much.
So what an electric race. Coming in first, talk me through what were you saying during that race, specifically the last 500, giving that motivation for the girls in your boat and getting through that finish line?
I think the biggest emphasis was it's been 6 years of Latty Cup, and the women's V8 has never walked through our main competitor, St. Joe's. So right through 500, I think the big focus was 6 years, like, let's make history. We're going to do it. And I think as soon as I made that call, we really started picking it up, and we just completely left them.
For sure. Now, you guys have had mitten 1, mitten 2. What technical adjustments have you guys been making from last weekend's regatta to today to have the result you did today?
Yeah, the biggest focus, I think, has really been to snap through to that finish. We do a really good job of getting the blades in, staying nice and direct. But we do a good job of staying direct, but I think it's that emphasis of just finishing strong and together. And, I mean, today even, I think it was a great example of really getting that pick up, and you could really see it from shore.
For sure. You guys look so clean, so great. What are you saying to get them through that middle tough 1,000 meters and specifically that big move at 750?
To breathe. I think a lot of the time people forget, and it's kind of crazy to say that, but with so much going on, whether it's the waves, the boat next to you, the people yelling, I think the biggest thing you can do is just remember to breathe, just be calm and loosen out, and I think that really helps.
For sure. And do you guys have any pre-race rituals that you guys do to really get into the vibes?
Yeah, we do. Sadie Ross always brings her speaker around, and we're playing some tunes. We do some fun stretches. In general, the vibes are always so hype.
For sure, I imagine. Thank you so much. Good luck in the women's V4 today and at Washington in the fall. Thank you, Khloe.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Sienna. Thank you, Khloe. Good to hear from eaglets of current. We'll hear from eaglets of the past as well. And Chad Bush, Michael Parker with you. You heard from Sienna Smith. She'll have more interviews coming up. But right now, Michael, update us on where we're at and what we've got going on in this men's novice.
We're looking at the men's novice 4 with the coxswains. And lane 1, we have St. Mary's. Lane 2, we have St. Ed's A. Lane 3, we have St. John's Jesuit. Lane 4, St. Ignatius A. Lane 5, St. Edward's B. Lane 6, Pioneer. Lane 7, Northview. And lane 8, St. Ignatius C. Race 8 boats stacked side by side. The whiteboard at the bottom of your screen looks like it's St. Mary's there with in lane 1.
This is the men's novice 4.
I think we got that. It's hard to tell from this angle, Chad, but I think we got St. John's in lane, St. John's Jesuit lane 3, St. Ignatius in lane 4. Yeah, I think that was the St. Ignatius A boat that just crossed the finish line there first.
Men's novice 4. And we'll have results soon.
Yeah, that's a stacked race. We've had some races before this with 3 and 4, 5 boats. This one had 8 across, all novices. Pretty tight race there between the top 4 or 5 boats there.
Coming up next is the women's novice 4.
And when you see that X, that means it's a quad. So that means, as opposed to the races we've seen so far, where each athlete has had 1 oar, this is the scullers with their 2 oars each. So these boats are known as quads, and then the ones with two athletes will be called doubles.
And so for the eaglets, it'll be Pickering, the Cox, Gaddy, Bruck, IR, and Olson in that boat for Orchard Lake St. Mary's.
And we just got the results there. So as we thought, St. Ignatius A boat had first place, finished there with 5:36 time. Second place was Pioneer with a 5:40, a 4-second delta there. And then St. Mary's in third place there, 5:42. So 2 seconds there between third and second place. Followed by St. Edward's B, St. Ignatius C, St. Edward's A, St. John's, and then Northview.
So St. Ignatius is on the board. That's what you're telling me.
Boys out of Cleveland.
Established in 1989, and look, they've been a presence on the scene for a minute now. St. Ignatius, I know, even when you rode, Mike.
That's right. Lots of respect for that program, indeed.
They've been around and done some big time things.
Boys only, I believe 1,400 enrollment there as well.
Yeah.
90 plus athletes joining this team here. So definitely the breadth that we greatly appreciate coming up and traveling up here to compete with us in the water.
Again, St. Ignatius first, Ann Arbor Pioneer second, Orchard Lake St. Mary's third, St. Edward's B fourth, followed by the rest of the field there. Women's Novice 4X is next.
That's right.
Quad, I'm sorry.
Oh, good. No worries. And you got an X for the quad, and you got a plus that signifies a coxswain present. So you can say quad with. Sort of like in Philly, you say cheese with. Means you want with onions. It's the quad with.
Pat's? Is it Pat's in Philly or no? Are you a Pat's guy?
I'm more of a Geno's guy.
You're a
than Pat's.
Geno's guy.
Yeah. And then
okay.
There's other places people will say, those are the tourist spots, but
okay.
More of a Geno's guy.
I like that. I respect that. Neither one has been on my plate yet. I'm looking forward to both.
You need to add that to your repertoire alongside that McMuffin you just had. So.
Yes. It wasn't just a McMuffin. It was better.
Breakfast of champions, baby. When it's 40 degrees on the water, you got to do what you got to do to stay warm. I understand.
We do. So women's novice 4, this is the quad.
The quad with a coxswain.
And that coxswain for St. Mary's is Pickering. And this is a team that has done some good things already. In the Mitten Series, they've already had some success this year. This race is underway, and what do we know of it so far?
looks like from this angle we got the St. Mary's women followed by East Grand Rapids there, that yellow, the crew with the yellow boats. And then I think we're looking at Forest Hills Central in third.
All right. Second place last week for this group in the Mitten Series.
Third boat is.
Trying to find that third boat, but right now we know out in front, it appears. Well, we can't tell yet. It's one of those where we don't, you can't tell.
I got a lane 4, I got a Forest Hills Central. So if the bow marker is accurate with that crew there, I think that's Forest Hills Central.
Okay. The Rangers looking to get on the board.
And that's East Grand Rapids just following there. Right there. And then that's the Orchard Lake ladies there in lane 5 coming up in third.
Okay. So Forest Hills Central wins it, followed by East Grand Rapids, and then Orchard Lake St. Mary's. And the women's novice 4 quad. That's it.
That's it.
The women's varsity 2X is next.
That's that double.
The double.
No plus sign there. These ladies are in the boat by themselves as the 2 rowers, 2 oars each, sculling style.
There you see the scullers, the scullies, Aspinall. And Macaulay, rather. Meanwhile, Sienna Smith is standing by with a special guest. Sienna's been busy, and so is this gal, the oarsman. Let's go down to Sienna now.
Here with Nika Latisinski, current senior and 7th seed of the women's varsity 8 and in the women's varsity 4, committed to row at Louisville in the fall. Nika, tell me about that race. It was so electric to watch. From your 7th seed perspective, walk me through it. How did you feel?
So throughout the race, I'm not going to lie, it was a very bumpy ride, but through the few weeks we've been practicing on this bumpy water, through the mornings and the afternoon practices, we've gotten really good at adapting to all conditions, and we're so privileged to be able to row on this lake every single day and to have the advantage today to know what it's going to be like. So to be able to row on this water and row through this course, we were able to connect well after the start, and we were very fortunate enough to be able to get ahead through the middle of the race and then be ahead throughout the finish and end 7 seconds ahead.
For sure. Now, for you personally, we talk about adapting, the conditions out there, the fatigue sets in, it gets tough. What are you personally focusing on to make sure you're staying locked in?
So throughout the race, especially today, it can be very distracting when you might hit a wave or someone behind you might chop at a wave or might catch a crab, but it's always good to hop back on the boat and get back on the horse and always get back to where you started. And we're really good at a whole boat to get back to where we were going and get back in the rhythm of rowing together. And so for me, I really just try to remind myself to breathe deep breaths and to always snap through the finish and keep my legs locked and make sure I finish good hard strokes so I can make every contribution to the boat that I can.
Definitely. What, if anything, surprised you during that race?
So today is actually the first time that we have won the V8 women's race in all 6 years of us competing at Latty Cup. And so the number one thing that surprised us is how motivated and how just confident we all were. We didn't let it get to our heads. We didn't let our ego get to our heads either. We have been undefeated all season, but we were very composed and we took it like champs, and we definitely were able to start the race and finish the race as we have this past whole season. And I'm very proud to say that throughout this whole race, we didn't let anything push us down, and we were able to complete the whole race on top.
For sure. And for you personally, You just recently set the women's record at St. Mary's for fastest 2K at a 7:19. Have to bring that up. Tell me about that.
So that is a big accomplishment for me. I've been trying to go sub 7:20 this whole season. I'm so happy that I was able to accomplish this in my senior year. I've not the tallest in the boat. I am definitely on the shorter end, and to be able to represent these smaller rowers and to be able to be a very strong athlete and still be very successful has been a huge accomplishment of mine. That you don't have to have these perfect genetics. You don't have to have the perfect qualities to be the fastest, to be the best. Really just use what you have and work with what you have to be able to contribute to the whole boat and to the whole team, to the whole program as much as you possibly can.
Thank you so much, Nika, and good luck in the V4 later today and at Louisville in the fall.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Sienna. We really appreciate that, and also appreciate the time from Nika Latisinski, one of the best to ever row Orchard Lake St. Mary's. She is a special talent and a part of that boat that has such high expectations, Michael, for the rest of this upcoming year. Meanwhile, we've got a finish in the women's varsity double race. Michael, what do we have, sir?
Looks like we just had Notre Dame Academy finish there first in lane 4. Crew established back in 1998 there, the ladies there in that double, followed by, I think, lane 5 with Shaker with their A boat.
So Notre Dame Academy victorious. They row on the Maumee, that big river. They're accustomed to handling rough waters like this. And Shaker Heights also in the house. Shaker Heights, they row on the Cuyahoga in Cleveland.
Featured by the 1 p.m. Tornado drill alarm right now. That's happening right now. That's just a test.
Yes.
Just a test.
Just a test. Do they do that in Columbus too?
We got noon on Wednesdays, different time of the week.
Interesting.
Yes. So,
of course, Ohio has it on an odd, random time like that.
Just got to make sure the systems work, though.
You do. Latty Cup 2026. Glad you're with us. 43 degrees, extremely windy, sun scarce. We're freezing, to be frank, but we're loving the Latty Cup 2026 in its 16th season, featuring 15 schools. And
sorry about that.
That's okay. Go ahead.
200 plus athletes as well. Crews joining us from various parts of Ohio, other parts of Michigan. Really the third race for the Eaglets this year, following the Mitten Series races, and after this you're on to the state championships and Midwest and beyond that. So it's a good catapult into the rest of your season here.
The men's varsity 4X is now Erickson, the leader of that boat, along with his other fellow oarsman, Erickson, along with Kenson, Nakanishi, and Boji.
And unlike that women's quad that we saw that had a coxswain, this one does not. So this is just 4 scullers, 2 oars each.
So who takes the lead when there's no cox? What happens? Who's running the asylum?
You basically have rudder control, which is that little fin that you can steer with your toe. So typically that the bow seat will have his or her toe that's connected to cables that are connected to the rudder. So your job is basically best efforts look behind you, and if you have a straight line behind you, that implies that the forward ahead, the course ahead should be good. So you're always taking your point from what you can see, obviously as you row backwards. So it's a non-trivial pursuit, these quads without coxswains. Same with the doubles that don't have coxswains. So,
no doubt. Okay, so you steer with your toes. That's an extra feature that I wasn't expecting.
You got your toe, and obviously, 2 oars each. So you got 1 in each hand, and you have to get some pressure on one side versus another. This is a straight course. Easier to have a straight line along these buoys in the fall time. You're turning corners. You're having to pass crews. It's a lot more chaotic. So it's, a lot of empathy for these bow seat in the quads and doubles that have to steer their shells at the same time.
This is a full race as well. Forest Hills Central, they've got a couple boats in this. Saline, Northview, St. Mary's, St. Ed's, and East Grand Rapids with 2 boats in this race. It's the men's varsity final X. We just finished the women's varsity double. Notre Dame was victorious in that one.
That was that lane 4 boat. That's right. And I think we had that Shaker A was at lane 5 in second place, I believe. There, still waiting for the official results.
Shaker. The men's varsity 4X in the Mitten Series, this is a boat that took 8th place for St. Mary's, so they're looking to change things around in this one.
It's hard to tell with the separation that we have here in this boat. You can obviously see the camera angles that we have here at the crews in the lead. Relative to those that bringing up the rear.
We'll try to get a better look as we're coming in. Pat the Stat with maybe his best contribution to date. Today, not to date. He's done much greater things than this, but hot coffee from Pat the Stat.
Clutch.
Thank you, sir. I don't even have a stat for that, but 10 out of 10. Thank you. 10 out of 10.
So we got a ball marker 7 and 2. It looks like that lane 7 in East Grand Rapids A versus the Saline boat in lane 2. I think took second place.
Okay, thank you for that.
As you can see, it's always when it comes to that close of a finish, so grueling those last couple strokes, and oftentimes as an oarsman, you gotta just lay down and take a breather after putting it on the line there. Those last couple strokes, as we saw.
So. There you see see a lot. And
middle lane 7 there with East Grand Rapids A.
Thank you.
Followed by what we think is lane 2 with Celine and that silver finish there.
All right. So we'll get the
crossing line lane 6 with St. Edwards.
The women's junior quad width is next. How about that? That's wrong? What?
No X, brother. So it's just the 4. That's the 4 width.
You told me width. 4 plus is quad width.
You got when that's an X, it's the quad. That's when there's no X, it's just a 4.
My goodness.
Yeah, it's all good. We'll get you there eventually.
I know.
A couple more hours. We'll get you
slow learner. I'm a slow learner. We have got a special interview that you and I both did with Coach Bruno coming up. We're going to run to that now. You want to go to that now? Okay, let's go to that now. We'll step aside here as we just had the conclusion of the men's varsity 4X.
Quad.
Whatever. Back with more after this.
Lowering the shoulder.
Swing and a miss. McGinley scores!
Welcome Welcome back to Latty Cup special interview with a couple of alums. Mike Parker, who will co-host today with me, and Bruno Sturlowitz, who is a grad of 1980, and he was on that founding team in 1976. What a special part.
Yeah.
It must have been as a freshman in 1976, Bruno, to come in and not only be a part of rowing, but be a part of the start of a history and a run that's been impressive for Orchard Lake St. Mary's.
Yeah, it's a great program. I mean, as was stated, Judd founded the program in 1976, and they had an intramural sport in the fall of 76, and then in the spring of 77, of course, he launched the the full program to compete varsity level. And Judd coached from 76 until about 1980 when he handed the program off to Jack. So, yeah.
So you were a part of Jack's first year.
No.
Or did Jack come in at some point?
Yeah, so what happened was I communicated quite a bit with Judd. In those days, it was by written letter. And in the fall of 1980, Judd wrote me a letter, and he said, you should go introduce yourself to Jack LeBlanc. Maybe if he wants you to coach, I don't know, but go ahead and do that. So it was an open house in that year that I went to see him, and he's like, yeah, we'd love you to come coach. And so I was coached by Judson from, as I said, 76 to 80. And then in the fall, after I graduated that May, I started to coach with Jack. So
Bruno, we're talking wooden boats, twice the weight that they are now.
Yeah,
you're a freshman, 14 to 18-year-old having to carry that. Take us back to what that was like.
Yeah, well, we didn't have any docks or anything. We would take off our shoes and wade into the water and drop the boat in the water, and then put our socks back on, because they didn't have shoes in the boats. They were the leather strap, and so you'd have to shove your socks in there, and then we'd go and row. So a big difference. And I mean, really the program started to take off, I think, when Jack took over. He was a real go-getter. He was a very charismatic individual. Honestly, he could sell ice cubes to Eskimos. He could relate with people like nobody's business. And so the program took off as a result. Then the boosters came on some years later. And I mean, just look at this. It's crazy.
Give us your best Jack story.
Oh, there's some I can't tell, but
it's a recurring theme with Jack stories.
Yeah, all in all, I mean, here's a. I don't know if it's off color. It's not, so you can edit it if you have to. But
no, there's no.
So one of the best stories was there was a rower. His Gates was his last name, and
Tim
Gates, and Jack and Vic were at the shore after practice talking, and I was kind of in the background. And Gates was a big kid, he was very desirable to get in a boat. And
6'2", 205.
Yeah. Anyways, so Jack under his breath says, we should get him to row, but he knew that Tim heard him, right? And so he said he'll never get in a boat. And Vic goes, why? He says, I mean, he's a black guy and he doesn't know how to swim. But he wanted Tim to hear this. And this probably isn't appropriate, but it's funny. Anyway, so Tim joined, and he was one of the best rowers we ever had. So yeah.
Tim Gates was in a boat with my brother.
Mm-hmm. Big Nate, right?
Big Nate. Man, they had a nice long run, some good championships. Tim also played football. Lastly, I'd like you to tell us a little bit about what this tradition means with the Latty Cup and the fact that it continues today in the name of Jack LeBlanc.
Yeah, no, it's a great legacy. He was a great man, and he really knew how to build people up and make them follow a good cause. And he loved rowing. I mean, he grew up with rowing at Ecorse Boat Club, and really, really loved it. And he always said that he didn't want to get involved coaching other people's kids until his were graduated and done with school, which I think is pretty cool. And then once they were, he came to coach rowing. But you know, it all started with Judd, and then Jack took it on and did a great job. And I remember one of those first years when we started winning, and we're down at Wyandotte Boat Club, the old one behind the hospital, and we're celebrating with a trophy. And all the kids who were in, you know, sweatshirts and ragtag type, we didn't really have uniforms, and there's so many of them. The dock is sinking, and not sinking, but it was under the water. And there's a picture of that when they won, and it typically was the state title, really, if you won that, because these other races didn't exist. And from there, we started to get money and uniforms, and now look, the boosters do a wonderful job. Now you have girls rowing here, which I think is terrific. More points, you know, and more chances to win. So I look at those early days, and I just marvel at the orders of magnitude where this program has progressed.
Bruno, thanks so much.
Yeah, you're welcome.
You coming by.
Thank
Bruno
you.
Sterlowitz,
All right.
Orchard Lake St. Mary's grad in 1980. Also did some coaching from 81 to 86 with Jack. Laddie, the namesake. Back with more of the Latty Cup right after this. This is the finish of the women's junior 4 with, and Chad Bush, Michael Parker back with you. Sienna Smith standing by. What do we have here, sir, with the women's junior 4 with finals?
Unofficial results here. 3 boats finishing so far. Looks like St. Joseph Academy lane 4 with first place there, followed by lane 5 with Orchard Lake St. Mary's.
So those two on the women's side have gone at it the last several years, and St. Joe's brings it home. And that is St. Joe's first place of the day. We don't expect it to be their last. Celine, I believe, is also in this. Celine in these competitions?
We got them in this lane too.
Okay.
That just finished there. That's correct.
Did not have them on the one list, so apologize to our friends from Celine. By the way, we are live on our YouTube channel. We are The Prep. Proud to bring you the Latty Cup for the 3rd straight year. If you'd like to comment, please feel free. Got a couple of commenters already that don't love our interviews. We understand that. We got a full production, though. And guess what? We got to pay for your broadcast. And part of that is getting interviews in. So we'll get you. Thanks for hanging with us. Thanks for understanding. We appreciate your viewership. Here's the schedule. We started at noon. We'll finish at 3:36. And we're about, we're down to the...
Coming up an event 29 of a total of 46.
Yeah, left column. If you're looking at the broadcast, the 4th race up from the bottom, the men's junior 4, is the next race.
That's right. The schedule started at 128. A little ahead of schedule, which is always a good posture to be versus the inverse of that.
Yeah. So we're just about on track with the timing, but we're glad to have coverage all day long. Alex Westfall is your executive producer. You got 4 cameras. Andrew Steele running our drone. He is a oarsman alum, Orchard Lake St. Mary's, much like your commentator today, Michael Parker, class of 98. Again, 15 schools. Ohio representing with Shaker Heights, St. Joe's Academy, St. John's Jesuit. Their baseball team is just across the way playing St. Mary's in baseball. St. Edward's, St. Ignatius, St. Ursula Academy. Those are the Ohio schools. And then the Michigan schools, Cranbrook, East Grand Rapids, Saline, Forest Hill Central, Ann Arbor Huron, Notre Dame Academy. Actually, Notre Dame Academy, of course, to the Michigan side. Grand Rapids, Northview, Ann Arbor Pioneer, St. Mary's on the boys, and St. Mary's on the girls. So So this is the aftermath you're seeing here of the finish of the women's junior 4. The men's junior 4 is upon us now. And we do have the finals in. St. Joe's wins it with a time of 5:51. St. Mary's of Orchard Lake is second with a time of 6:02. Ann Arbor Huron is third with a time of 6:09.
Following that, that women's 4 with Chad, we'd next up have the men's junior 4 with final here. And you can see from this beautiful drone shot from right to left, lane 1 far right with Cranbrook A, lane 2 St. Edward's B, lane 3 Orchard Lake, lane 4 St. Ignatius, lane 5 St. Edward's, lane 6 East Grand Rapids, lane 7 Huron, and lane 8 Forest Hills Central.
Thank you, sir. The men's junior 4, that's the Orchard Lake St. Mary's 5. There you see Caju, who you just heard from earlier, Fox, Stewart, and Janazek. And Mastriani is the Cox in that bow. He looks like a Cox, doesn't he? He looks like he means business.
That's right. That's right. That's what you need in that seat. It's basically like your mini coach on the water. Your eyes and your ears. As an oarsman, oarswoman, you had a very narrow boat that's not much wider than the width of your hip, and basically you can't be looking around the boat. Laddie would be out there yelling at you.
What would he be saying?
Eyes on the boat, Parker. Eyes on the boat.
Is that right?
That's right. And so,
Okay.
and obviously, being a sweep oarsman in this case, you have to extend over the gunnel there to get the reach at the catch, which gets you on your respective side of the boat. So you sort of have this zigzag approach as it's all kind of keeping the boat aligned there. So the coxswain basically is your job to let you know where you stand in the field, looking left to right, taking the moves that need to be taken to keep you competitive and with the group, and hopefully ahead of the field there as well.
Yeah, and if you catch that crab, or if there is some conflict in the boat, how does it get corrected?
It depends. I mean, it can be as catastrophic as an ejector, where you find yourself in the water. That has happened. I think one of the Mitten series featured that this year, I believe. Effectively, you hope that the rigger didn't break. You can twist that oar handle while the rest of your team is still pulling their strokes.
Rigger. You said rigger. By the way, that's Laddie's former dog's name.
That makes sense. There you go.
Sorry, I had to interrupt. Carry on.
So as long as you don't have broken equipment and that oar lock is still intact, you basically crank that oar handle, which is now behind your head, kind of parallel with the boat, and you hope you can pry it back, and with the pressure of the water pushing against it and the embarrassment of being the one that catch the crab, and you just do the best you can. So it's best efforts to try to pick back up or you leave off.
Love it. This is our race that we're at right now. This is race number 12, the men's junior 4. And there you see, that's assistant coach. And look, things like this happen. There's trouble in the boat. There's trouble in that boat.
That's right. I mean, you rely upon, we got
a cameraman on that boat.
There you go.
He's held up. Got to get that thing started. Let's go. Missing a camera. That's right. We got eyes everywhere today. Brad Ross waiting patiently to get that thing rolling.
Another St. Edward's, St. Mary's.
Classic.
Yes, battle right now. Edwards looks to have about a length over St. Mary's, and Edwards in that lane 5 with St. Mary's of Orchard Lake in lane 3 here.
This is the men's junior 4.
You got it. You're getting it, see? Perfect.
I'm from now on, we're a good couple. You know why? I'm only going to say men's junior, and you're going to have to finish my men's junior 4, and you're going to have to finish my sentence.
Okay, there you go.
Okay.
That's what I'm here for, man.
I like that. good teammate. There we see inside the boat. Is that St. Edwards?
That's right. With
The
about
Eagle.
About 2 lengths now open on the field there. Commanding lead over the field, St. Edwards.
St. Edwards and St. Ignatius, of course, rivals, along with in Cleveland. And we are getting a finish right here, right now. While we sort that out, well, let's get the finish here first, and then we'll go to Sienna Smith, who's standing by. So it does appear this one is finished. What do we know, Michael? Anything?
Yeah, we're looking at St. Edwards in lane 5 with that first place finish there. St. Mary's in lane 3 of the second place finish.
So St. Edwards, who won the men's second varsity 8 earlier and the men's third varsity 8 earlier as well, has their third gold of the day.
And they were the ones that were about a second off that St. Mary's crew in that first varsity 8 as well. It's a very close finish with the St. Edwards Orchard Lake first varsity 8 boat.
Needless to say, that's the rivalry. St. Mary's and St. Ed's. And on the girls' sides, it's been Orchard Lake, St. Mary's, and St. Joe's. Meanwhile, Sienna Smith has another guest. Let's go to Sienna now.
Here with Brad Burns, class of 2009 alum. Tell me, Brad, what is it like being at this regatta as an alum?
You know, it means everything to me. I learned so much from this team, and I learned so much from the coaching, and to be able to see it happening at scale so many years later and see all these young athletes being able to participate in the same things that I did, it gives me a lot of hope.
For sure. How would you say your experience rowing for St. Mary's shaped how you are now?
Everything. You know, it hasn't been the straightest road to get to where I am, but what Zarnecki and the coaching staff and really the spirit of this team taught me was to never give up, to always have discipline, to trust in your teammates, and to build a culture that can win.
Any advice for current athletes?
Listen to your coaches, don't give up, and if you're hurting, say something to your doctors, to your coaches. They want to help you.
Now tell us, what are some of your favorite memories from rowing for St. Mary's, rowing on this lake, Latty Cup specifically?
The thing about rowing is that it's the pursuit of excellence, and you'll never get to the perfect stroke. But I do remember one day when we were in a 4 and we all just sat down in the boat, and all of a sudden it locked in, and we just knew. We knew it was a special boat, and if we just spent another couple months training, we would be the fastest. And we ended up winning the Junior 4 gold at CSSRAs, and that's one of my best memories.
It's a great regatta. Thank you so much, Brad.
Thank you.
Thanks, Sienna. Thank you, Brad. Back to the action, 2026 Latty Cup. And we are now into the men's novice 4. Again, the final in the men's junior 4. St. Ed's first. St. Mary's second. Thanks for watching the Latty Cup 16th year in honor of Jack LeBlanc, the fella who took this program to the next level. And what a program it is. 27 state titles, multiple national titles, Midwest. And this is just a celebrated program that has grown. And we've seen through the years, first state title in 1985. And the Eaglets claimed it last in 2024. We had some conversations earlier this week. And we'll hear from another student athlete from Orchard Lake St. Mary's. And that comes to you now. The store is set up. He's got the order, and he's off. It's a full court press. These brands are knocking it out of the park. This, my friends, is the speed we've come to expect from this team. Just look at the precision of that move. And it's out of here.
Look, everybody wanna go and talk. At the same time, gotta walk. Better yet, run, go, hit a lick, divvy up with my homies, and we do it all again. Whenever we get it, there's no hesitation.
We're here with Leila Burgerer, Orchard Lake St. Mary's Junior oarswoman, and this is a big day. You've got a few boats that you're going to be a part of. Which boat so far has had sort of the most progress this year early on in this rowing season?
I think our 2v8. I was a little worried about it at first because I've never rowed with most of the girls, but it really showed out, especially at our first race. We won silver. Last one we got gold, so I'm really looking forward to potentially getting gold at this race.
You were a part of this last year, and it's got to be fun to have the home crowd behind you for a race. Not all the schools get a chance to have that. That's got to be a fun feeling to know that you got the community behind you, right?
Oh, yeah. You know, most of family friends and just extended friends, they all come out for this one in particular. You know, all my teachers are always like, oh, I'm going to be there. We're excited to see how it's going to go. And I'm always looking forward to it. It's my favorite.
Talk about the brotherhood and the sisterhood in rowing. What is it about rowing that draws you closer than maybe other sports?
I think it's more of how you have to tackle issues, because it's not just you in the boat. There's 8 other girls, and you have to work as a team to get the problem fixed. It can't just be one or nothing. It has to be everybody. And that's what I really like about the sport, is that it forces you to establish teamwork and to just be one with them. It's like if I'm feeling tired, it's like, oh, but I've got to do this for so-and-so, and it just pushes you forward.
Do you want to do this sport? You want to continue this in college?
Yeah, I think so. I'd probably go lightweight division. I think it'd be a lot of fun.
Awesome. What's the outlook today? I know chilly waters and cold conditions and all that. How do you fight all those external conditions and just focus on doing all that technical teamwork that you talked about?
I think it's because you're all suffering in the cold together. It's kind of fun to joke about it, and you're like, oh, do you have an extra layer? Or if you have an extra layer and you get warm enough, and you're like, here, you take mine. And it's just you're all in it together, so it's just a little more fun that way.
All the best today. Thanks for joining us.
Of course. Thank you.
That's Leila Burgerer, Orchard Lake St. Mary's Junior oarswoman. More to come from Latty Cup after this.
Chad and Michael with you. Lakeside, Orchard Lake in Oakland County, northern Oakland County, and Orchard Lake St. Mary's behind us. How about having a high school right behind you? And that's what Orchard Lake St. Mary's has. One of the most beautiful scenes you'll have is a high school to look out in your new school building and see a lake and see the beauty. Today, it's challenging. There's a frost warning. It's 43 degrees, but these tough young men and women are muddling through in these conditions, Michael, and that's what it's all about.
That's what it's all about, and that, Chad, to your point, that's a huge advantage. I mean, we are, feet away from the school building. Many crews have to bust themselves down to their respective bodies of water, rivers, to compete. Here at Orchard Lake, we have the benefit of a 5.4-mile circumference lake. As long as you can find a calm part of the lake and get over there safely, you can row. But, that's a huge advantage, having this Orchard Lake available to you right here to just get out of class, grab a bite to eat, maybe some Gatorade, and get on the water.
That's it. That's what you used to do, huh?
That's right.
Yeah. We appreciate everybody watching the Laddie Cup and our third year of coverage, as this is the home meet for Orchard Lake St. Mary's, and it's also, look, this is getting ready for the next level of races next week at Kensington.
That's right.
And that's the big one, right? Midwest?
That's what we got states first.
States, my bad.
Correct, no worries. And then that'll feature Midwest. And then from there, depending on the race that you're in and the positioning of your race, either the first place position or the top 3 get an auto bid to nationals, which this year will be held in Oak Ridge, Tennessee.
Very cool. Oak Ridge, Tennessee, a place where Orchard Lake St. Mary's trained in their pre-camp this year. And so a familiar water to them, which how much of an advantage is that if you've already trained on that water this year?
It demystifies the scene. And, we've been going down there, I think, transition from Augusta, Georgia to Oak Ridge, which would have been in the 1996 spring season. So quite a history. And then there were some crews who had been to Oak Ridge and back and forth, and some spots in West Virginia as well. So it's kind of been rotating that spring training. The key is just get somewhere south where it's a little bit warmer in those times of the year.
Oh, how we understand that today. You'd like to get a little further south. There are 4 boats in this race: Orchard Lake St. Mary's, Saline, East Grand Rapids, and Forest Hills Central. And this one's coming to an end right now.
Which you can see that lane 6, that Orchard Lake crew is the first to cross this finish line in that quad width.
All right, so the Eaglets will take first in this event, and we'll see who's next to follow.
Well, but East Grand Rapids in lane 4.
Okay, so EGR representing. Strong presence from our friends on the west side of the state. They established their program in 2000, and they row on Reed's Lake, which is right across the street from the high school. Have you ever rowed at Reed's Lake?
It's been a while. Back in the 90s, I feel like we were over there at one point, back when Don LeBlanc was doing his thing over there with son of Laddie, kind of getting programs going over there in the Grand Rapids region.
Right on. Don LeBlanc, the son of Jack Laddie LeBlanc, and his sons James.
Of course, also founded that Forest Hills Central program out there back in 1995.
That's right. James and Earl, that's not his name. I was trying to find his real name. Chattabule calls him Earl. I'll come up with that in a second. I know it's not his real name, but anyway, the LeBlancs all over in their presence here today as well. We'll have Chattabule join us. He's the grandson of Laddie, and he'll be on at about 3 o'clock. And we always look forward to having Chad on. Laddie's oldest grandson. Next up is the Women's Novice 4. So if you look at this schedule right now on your screen, you look at the left side of the column, it's the second one from the bottom is where we're at, the 144 race, the Women's Novice 4. I did my part. What's next? Women's Novice 4.
We got a coxswain present, so it means with.
So nothing.
With.
Oh,
You could say with.
Okay. No,
you
you
like.
can say with. I can't say those, remember? I'm no longer on that.
And here's the thing, to confuse you more, if you don't have the plus, that means obviously there is no coxswain. So you can have 4s without, which gets you back to the bow man's or bow woman is the one who's steering the boat with their toe.
All right, bro, you're geeking out now.
There you go. Which, as you look ahead, the next race after this, we have a pair that has a negative sign. So more will be thrown at you here coming up.
All right. There you see the aftermath of it all, and you saw the post-race presence. When you're done with a race, like what's that feeling like, Mike?
It's a release because a lot of times, depending on how close the race is, but the optimal experience is to leave everything you have on the water and have your last stroke be your last ounce of energy. So a lot of times you can get tunnel vision, you can get blackout situations as you're the lactic acid's building up, and oxygen deprived a little bit, just trying to keep your lungs up. Rowing's often cited as the most cardio, anaerobic, intensive sport there is. It's, some say it's synonymous to doing 150 or 200 clean and jerks simultaneously at max speed. So when you're doing that competitively side by side, you finish that race and you're done. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And in this case, you have a shoreline that you have to make sure you don't row into. So you got some safety concerns. You just make sure that you stop rowing. And then in this case, make it a 90-degree turn and come back to the shore and hopefully celebrate the result.
And celebrating this result of this last race, St. Mary's first, East Grand Rapids second. The women's novice 4 with is just beginning.
Yeah, but as you can see from the sky footage here, we have lane 1 with that Pioneer B, lane 2 with Orchard Lake, lane 3 Pioneer A, lane 4 Huron, lane 5 St. Joseph Academy, lane 6 Saline, lane 7 Shaker Heights, and lane 8 Forest Hill Central.
There you see the St. Mary's boat with Zawicki, Freiberger, Goldsmith, Kratori, and Valentino. Kratori, Ava, is the great-granddaughter of Laddie in that boat as the tradition continues now with the great-grandchildren.
Amazing.
And Laddie's daughter, Nancy's, is the matriarch of that family.
A singer as well, I believe.
Oh, yeah. They can all sing,
all
but Nancy can really howl now.
LeBlanc ladies. Those LeBlanc ladies really can have the pipes there.
But Nancy sings at Mass.
Right.
At Orchard Lake St. Mary's. You're right. Renee as well.
Right.
Renee can sing. Mary can sing now. They all can, really.
Multi-talented family there.
Donnie can sing on the guy's side. And Dickie. Not, okay, well, we're not going to call it the ones that can't sing, Pat the Stat. You just keep statting boats and finishes. And
I think they're known as the E-Course Troubadours, I believe, is what they were called.
I think so.
If not, they should have been.
If not, we're going to go with it. I like it. The women's novice 4 with is at about mid-race right now. And we're about mid-race. There you see Orchard Lake St. Mary's, the school behind us, the Burkacki School Building, which is just 3 years young. The Grotto. And that's that. Back to the races. There's a baseball game going on across campus. Maybe Chris Armani Rose can get us footage of the Eaglets and St. John's. How cool is that? 2 sports going on? Yeah, why not? It's that kind of day. Burn the candle at both ends. That's your drone shot thanks to Eaglet alumni rower Andrew Steele. The man of steel with a nice shot there. But let's get back to this race. It's coming down to the final moments. What do we have, Michael?
We just saw that St. Joseph Academy in lane 5 appears to be out there really close, neck and neck. Chad's going to come down this last probably 10 strokes here with lane 5 with St. Joseph Academy with St. Mary's in lane 2.
So right at it again, no surprise. St. Joe's and St. Mary's head-to-head for the women's novice 4 with final. Could it be another photo finish?
It's going to be tight.
On your screen, it's the...
Ooh. I think that lane 2, I think that St. Mary's crew got it.
Orchard Lake St. Mary's did get it. St. Mary's first, St. Joe's second. And, boy, another close race.
Yeah, less than a seat. I mean, we're talking probably, quarter of a deck length there, which really comes down to trading off strokes. You know, it's a couple more strokes and.
That's a preview there of the men's varsity 2.
AKA the pair.
AKA the pair. Like you and I.
That's right, baby.
You and I are the pair.
Many great pairs out there today, correct?
There are. Like Robin Goddard and his pair would be like Doug. All right. Wind's starting to cause havoc. And there you see the end and the finish of this race. St. Mary's wins it, followed by St. Joe's. And in third, we will find out shortly. But for the Eaglets, count them up for the women. That's their 4th first place of the day on the girls' side. So now St. Joe's did get first over Orchard Lake in the women's junior 4 with earlier. So perhaps a little redemption there, but St. Mary's, St. Joe's 1-2.
That's right.
The men's varsity
pair
is upon us right now. And in this race, it is St. Edwards, Saline, Cranbrook, East Grand Rapids twice. They have a A boat and a B boat, and then St. Joe's, or excuse me, St. John's is in that. Nothing like having an SJ and an SJJ.
Right, right.
Both from Ohio. And both from the same city. All fun stuff. Challenges galore. Would this be fun if it didn't have all these challenges? It wouldn't be worth it. Austin Sonnenberg says it would.
This is the life lessons the sport teaches you, Chad, right here.
That's right.
A live experience.
Well, and Austin might not. He wasn't an oarsman, so we understand that. I was an oarsman for about 1 week, by the way, to be fair.
It shows in your cold sensitivity as well.
Yes, see?
That's right.
I transferred to baseball. I said, you know what? I respect this sport, and I am not strong enough. I'm going back to baseball.
Fair enough.
This is the finish right here. What do we have in this men's varsity pair?
I mean, the lane 4 right there crossing the finish would be Cranbrook.
Okay. Stand up, Coach Van Houten.
KV8, shout out.
Cranbrook from across the lake in familiar waters. Of course, Cranbrook, who developed their team in '98, started on Elizabeth Lake. They've come across the lake right here on the west side of Orchard Lake, where they have set up shop, and they've grown to over 60 athletes now in their program under Kevin Van Houten, and they get a first place here, Michael Parker.
That's right. I believe they're over at the Orchard Lake Country Club.
They are.
Where they launch from on a daily basis.
And this is the men's varsity single. And the first race, as we are a little ahead of schedule. We had this scheduled for a 2 o'clock start. We're never mad at being ahead of schedule.
It's compliments of 1998 alum Mike Flipiak, Chris Thompson at the starting line. Getting boats started. When you have them aligned, Chad, and they're ready to go, and you got a top-notch timing crew that's prepared, ready to get that started, you fire them off the line there. Take advantage of better weather earlier in the day than later in the day.
He was a part of that boat, the senior 8 in '98, along with the man to my left, Michael Parker, Dan Lee, Eric Aldrich, Chris Thompson, Bill Hartsock, Hani Abasad, Matt Wall, and Dave Simon, part of that boat under Kevin Van Houten, who was their coach. Did I miss anything there?
You got it all. Matt Wally is part of that team, is there as well, and Dave Simon, of course, 2000 Sydney Olympian as well. So lots of great.
That's a big nugget.
That participate in that crew there.
2006 rode in Sydney.
2000.
2000.
That's correct. Yep.
Outstanding.
That men's heavyweight 8, first heavyweight 8 out there.
Would you say he is the most celebrated oarsman in St. Mary's history on the men's side to date?
One could argue, yes, very much so, absolutely, and the numbers prove it. Dave, I think, featured, and he's going to kill me if I get this wrong, somewhere in the 540s for his 2,000-meter erg test, basically blazing fast speed, which at the time was the American record.
Wow.
Fastest in the world, I believe, at the time.
Impressive. The men's varsity single is happening here and now, and I think we're coming to a finish.
Looks like that was lane 6, Northview.
All right. Stand up, Northview.
Followed by lane 2, Celine.
Okay. So Northview, Grand Rapids Northview, who we've covered on the prep in football and basketball. Followed by Celine. We've also covered in football this past year.
And then I think we had lane 3, Cranbrook there as well.
And Cranbrook placing in back-to-back races. The Fighting Van Houtens are heating up. As we look on the shores.
Lots of folks bundled up over there.
It's a good look. There's the finish. Thanks again for watching here on the Prep Live. We cover Michigan high school sports, and rowing's no exception. Give us a sport, we'll do it. Even if it's 43 windy and whatever, we're here. Let's play. And the reason for the broadcast, of course, is the Latty Cup. And anybody who knows or knew Jack LeBlanc knows that this would be his kind of race. This would be his kind of day, right?
Absolutely.
I mean, what would he say on a cold, chilly, windy day like this?
You know, the quote attribution would be tough. You basically, some type of motivational speech to get you out there, get you fired up.
Was weather ever, how did he respond? What kind of different factors?
So, during my years, Jack would be in his phase of making guest appearances where we'd have, Kevin Van Houten and the crew there full time with us. And so Jack was always that motivational, basic voice there, just trying to get you that next inch of speed, the next inch of reach, and that stroke, and taking advantage of everything you can, with basically all the strength that you have and how to apply the pressure appropriately to the oar handle. So a lot of technique, a lot of brute force. It's kind of an intersection of art and science there.
Lad, bring me my pipe.
There would be that. You could smell the cherry. Yeah, that cherry tobacco pipe smell.
Jack smoked a pipe, and it smelled just about as good as you can get. I mean, it smelled like Sunday morning bacon and cinnamon rolls all into one. And boy, it just added to the Jack LeBlanc aroma around you of what you had going on with the conversation. Oh man, fond memories. Man. Of course, Jack lived on Union Lake.
That's right.
And a residence that still is stayed within the family today. And boy, most of the family does, majority of the family does live on Union Lake still, and they've kept that memory.
It's a very tight-knit crew over there in the Union Lake area, that's for sure.
Yeah. Chad Abule will join us for commentary at 3 o'clock, and he'll tell us a little bit deeper about the Onion, as they call it, Union Lake, right?
That's right. Feature of which, as a grade schooler, was at Dairy Queen as well. Hit that up quite a bit. Union Lake Dairy Queen's famous in its lore.
Oh, yeah. That's right. Right on the banks of Union Lake. There's the schedule, and if you look at the right side column, that is what's in front of us now. The left side is done, and we'll recap that shortly, but the men's varsity single has just finished. Grand Rapids Northview won it. Saline finished second, and Cranbrook finished third. The women's varsity 4
quad
is next. And there's the Eaglets. Curtin, Daniels, Ross, and LaButte. Daniels is a legacy kid. Her father, Matt Daniels, went to Orchard Lake St. Mary's and is a 95 grad, I believe. Mr. Daniels is. There's 2 St. Mary's boats in this race, by the way. We showed you the first. Here's the second with Hermes, Hames, Goodman. By the way, Goodman also a legacy child. Her father is Dan Goodman.
Celebrating her Sweet 16
Is
this
that right?
weekend. Happy birthday, Maggie.
Happy birthday, Maggie. And you've heard from Lucy Sherone. So that's quite the boat right there. Quite the boats, but it talks to the depth that Czar told us that, look, we're getting to the point, especially on our girls' side, that we can field 2 boats now, and that's exactly what they've done here in the varsity 4.
And I think Maggie's crew, that A boat looks like they're in lane 5. They have the edge there, which is in the center of your screen there. You can pan over to the right and see that top crew is at lane 2, which actually stand corrected depending on the angle, and we'll find out here shortly. Looks to be pretty tight with that lane 5 Orchard Lake A boat, Forest Hill Central, and then lane 2.
The women's varsity 4 results earlier this year. They raced in the Mitten Series and finished second. That was the boat, one of the 2 boats. So the Eaglets looking to place in 2 of the 3 spots. Today is also Kentucky Derby Day.
That's right. Happy Derby Day.
Have you ever partaken in that event?
Haven't made the Derby. I've made some Kentucky races, the Keeneland Series. I made it down there one time. It's quite the experience just to get down to those events.
Yeah, I have not been, but I can only imagine. By the way, feel free to comment. We appreciate all the folks that have broadcasted. And thanks for watching. So mid-race right now for the women's varsity 4.
Quad. Got quad with, I think we saw that Orchard Lake boat there in lane 5. Was in the lane last view, and then the Forest Hill Central.
Other boats in this. East Grand Rapids has 2 boats. Forest Hill Central, Cranbrook, along with St. Mary's and Northview, who are, it appears, 1 and 2 right now in this race. Appreciate everybody who's watching, and if you would please subscribe. We bring Michigan high school sports live year-round, and we are fortunate to be able to do that today for the Latty Cup. As we are coming to the end of this race, we'll have an interview coming up after this one's over, but right now, Michael, get us up to speed as far as what you see as the leaders.
We see the ladies in lane 5 at Orchard Lake A right now, leading the pack there. Appears to be over second place of lane 3, East Grand Rapids. And then Forest Hill Central closest to us here in lane 2 and 3rd.
So St. Mary's A boat has crossed and finished first. East Grand Rapids now crossing second. And Forest Hills Central will finish third, it appears, in the women's varsity quad. And as we watch the final finish, all right, let's go now to a special guest. Sienna Smith is standing by. Sienna, take it away.
Here with Cooper Hollis, class of 2025, current student at the University of Michigan. Cooper, tell me what it's like being at this regatta today as an alum.
It really just feels really special coming out and watching a bunch of the guys who I knew and rode with back when I rode in high school, and coached some of these boys. Just coming out and watching our 8 do what they do best, coming out and winning the regatta. First time in 16 years, just really special to come and watch that happen.
For sure. Tell me, how did rowing here at St. Mary's shape where you are today?
I think it just gave me a lot of confidence. I think I also work well with people, especially I'm a nurse in the School of Nursing at U of M, and I think it's just given me a bit of that boost of energy to be able to work really well with my peers and patients that I'll have in the future.
Great. Now, tell me, what are some of your favorite memories rowing for St. Mary's, rowing on this lake, Latty Cup? Tell me about it.
Definitely. I think just the competition at this regatta, it's really the top tier that you face. You have really good crews like St. Ed's, St. Ignatius, just top tier crews that are coming out and racing really competitively at this prestigious regatta.
Do you have any advice for current athletes here today?
Definitely. Just take it all in, just because unless you row like me past college, this is the last high school rowing experience that you're going to have. So you might as well embrace it and make the most out of it.
Couldn't agree more. Thank you, Cooper.
Thanks so much, Sienna. Appreciate that. Good to see Cooper Hollis as well, another legacy kid. His father, Orchard Lake St. Mary's grad in 1992. And we see that with the tradition continuing with the parents, the kids. I mean, and that's pretty cool, right?
Parents,
to
kids,
see this continue.
Grandkids,
right?
Multiple generations here for sure.
So we do have a correction to make, and we do appreciate our YouTube viewers, especially when they correct us. We want to be accurate. It's not about us. It's about getting it right. And we thank Ms. Morkey for correcting us. And so, yes, we did make a mistake, and we want to clear that up. The women's novice 4 with Ann Arbor Pioneer wins the race. St. Joe's finishes second, and Ann Arbor Huron finishes third. We errantly said St. Mary's won the race. We apologize. That was incorrect. Congratulations to Ann Arbor Pioneer, the winners of the women's novice 4 with. And thank you, Ms. Morkey, for correcting us. We appreciate that. Hey, listen, we want commentary back. Follow us on our social media. Please like and follow, subscribe. We appreciate everybody watching live. And we are The Prep. Follow us on our social medias. We've got 5 of them. And if you'd like to get a broadcast, well, let us know how we can make that happen for you. info@theprepsports.com. Proud to bring you coverage of the Latty Cup for the 3rd straight season. As we see the women's varsity quad finish, St. Mary's finishes first. The A boat, East Grand Rapids, finishes second, and Forest Hill Central finishes third. The men's freshman/novice 8 is upon us next.
We're looking at 8 boats in this final here. Got an East Grand Rapids. We got 2 St. Edwards. We have a Pioneer. We have 2 St. Ignatius. Considered St. Ignatius in that situation, I guess. Forest Hill Central in here, and then a Huron boat.
Thank you, sir. His name is Michael Parker. We are 2 hours into this 4-hour activity. We're halfway home. It's like halftime. Andrew Steele celebrates by eating a hot dog. Glizzy it up, bro. That's what we're here for. Why not? The glizzies are good. Thanks, Pat the Stat. The scene is Orchard Lake. The reason, the Latty Cup in its 16th year with 15 schools, and we are about halfway through. Let's recap this thing and the winners. Men's varsity 8, St. Mary's won that. Women's varsity 8, Orchard Lake St. Mary's won that. The men's second varsity 8, St. Edwards won. Women's second varsity 8 went to St. Mary's. The men's third varsity 8 went to St. Edwards. Women's third varsity 8 went to St. Mary's. Men's varsity 4 went to St. Ignatius A boat. Women's varsity quad went to Forest Hill Central. Women's varsity double went to Notre Dame. Men's varsity 4 quad went to East Grand Rapids. Women's junior 4 with went to St. Joe's. Men's junior 4 went to St. Ed's. Men's novice 4 quad with went to St. Mary's. Women's novice 4 with went to Ann Arbor Pioneer. Men's pair went to Cranbrook. Men's varsity solo.
Single, close.
Thank you. I tried. Went to Northview. And women's varsity quad went to Orchard Lake St. Mary's A boat. You're all caught up.
You're caught up. We're ahead of schedule, looking at the 2:16 event ahead. Currently 2:07.
Yeah, how about that? We're 9 minutes ahead. That might be a Laddie Cup record.
It's an efficient crew out there.
You're not lying.
Very seasoned veterans who main goal is to just put on a great event for all of our 200-plus athletes who come in for this.
In the men's novice 8 that is happening now, there are no Orchard Lake St. Mary's boats, but there are others. East Grand Rapids, St. Edwards brought 2 boats. Ann Arbor Pioneer, St. Ignatius, Forest Hill Central with 2 boats, and Ann Arbor Huron. The women's novice 8 is next. It feels like this would be the time that Laddie would take a nap. Kind of a lull, you know, kind of midday. The hot dogs are starting to taste good. The pipe's starting to die down. And this would be the time he might take a nap.
If you're in between races as well as an athlete, that's the key. You want to get off your feet, maybe relax a little bit. You pass some of these crews and you'll see some folks are in between races just sort of hanging out. Maybe you got a sleeping bag, you're keeping warm. keep it limber. So that's all part of the process for sure, Chad.
Did you ever talk to other opponents? Is this more of a casual sport where, like, you're talking to them and socializing and
You're
all
kind of
that?
you're kind of in the zone while pre-race. In each
In the lull time, in the downtime, like right now, like you don't race for an hour or 2 hours, or you might be done. Is it okay to converse with your opponent in this sport?
Okay, totally. Logistics of it, though, you got your big boat trailer that's typically parked somewhere with all your equipment. It's kind of hard to. Those are all separated a little bit, so you're kind of in your little camps, if you will. Literally, you got tents and things set up there, so it's typically don't make your way out of your compound too much. When the race is over, different question though. A lot of times, this event doesn't feature it, but a lot of times with the finals and that sort of thing, the national championships, you'll have the winning crew get the T-shirts of the crews that they beat. So you have the handoff that happens sometimes when the betting of the shirt is what it's considered. So basically, you pass off your shirt to the winner that goes home with a medal, but also a lot of new swag that probably needs to be washed. But yes.
So not only did I beat you, but I want your shirt. And I get your shirt.
And
Is that what it is?
That's what it is.
Wow.
And there was a period of time where the NCAA had some issues with considered it as a monetary exchange that had to be corrected and clarified, but the tradition still continues at that level as well.
I can recall at the Canadian Schoolboy Classic, there was a lot of exchanges of
Absolutely.
At that point there. And I don't know if that was because they won or just because they liked each other's. Could we just exchange if I liked your team's colors, right? Something like that?
If you talked me into it, for sure. That can and does happen, absolutely.
Okay.
And especially up there, you got programs from across Canada coming in, all the provinces coming in. The Vancouver colleges was the one that I earlier commented about a split-second delta. We took first place to their second place by a tenth of a second, and shaking their hand and seeing the size of that team, and that all goes into the process. And afterwards, you have a medal exchange there and a platform podium. So it's quite the experience afterwards.
Pretty cool. I can also recall mascots. Schools bringing their mascots to that tournament.
Right.
Much like St. Edward's bringing their eagle here today. Can we get eyes on that eagle, by the way? No pun intended.
I think the eagle has left its nest, according to the intel.
All right. Well, even the eagle needs to warm up in the trailer. Try to get eyes on him or her. Meanwhile, we've got a race going, and this is the men's novice 8. And what do we got here?
From this angle, that lane 5 you can see is St. Ignatius from Cleveland in first place there. Next to them, lane 4, Pioneer. Coming into the last 250 meters of this race.
There you see. No, it's that gold.
That would be St. Ignatius then.
And the finish. St. Ignatius.
A boat, St. Ignatius.
So St. Ignatius.
Since St. Edward's in lane 3.
Followed by St. Ed's. So an all Ohio. So St. Ignatius A boat takes the men's novice 8. We've got current standings to update you on. We've got overall, and then we've got men's and women's separated by sweep and skull. So all that's kind of confusing, but I'll try to work through this. Overall right now, Orchard Lake St. Mary's leads with 192 points. Second place, St. Edward's with 97 points. And third place, East Grand Rapids with 61 points. In the women's sweep, St. Mary's in first place with 85 points. St. Joe's Academy in second place with 58. And Ann Arbor Huron in third place with 23. On the men's sweep side, St. Edward's is in first place with 96.5 points, followed by St. Mary's with 62, and Ann Arbor Huron with 25. On the women's scull side, it's St. Mary's in first place with 24 points, Forest Hill Central second place with 20, and East Grand Rapids in third with 16. And on the men's scull side, it's East Grand Rapids with 27 points, followed by Saline with 25, followed by St. Mary's with 22. That's updated standings. And what do you make of all that?
Well, as we've seen the different styles of rowing out there today, Chad, you got all the boats with 2 oars with each athlete be considered a sculling technique there. So all the sculling athletes are tallied separately from the sweep rowers, where each oarswoman has 1 oar each. And so we'll tally those results up separately in those points, and then you have the overall category as well. So distinctions based upon the types of events and the tallies that pertain to each there.
All right. Now it's time for the women's novice 8. And the women's novice 8, as the wind conditions continue to turn up.
We're looking at a 7-boat final here, with the first lane being Pioneer in lane 2, Forest Hill Central lane 3, St. Joseph Academy lane 4, Cranbrook in lane 5, Orchard Lake St. Mary's in lane 6, Huron in 7, and Cranbrook B in 8.
Thank you, sir. Here you see the women's Frosh / novice 8. Pickering is the Cox again, along with Gaddy. And the rest of the 8 for OLSM. These are the freshmen, right? I mean, these are the folks that are learning, the new folks to rowing.
They are, and that's typically the case. First-time rower is also considered novices, so sometimes you may have a junior, sophomore, first-time rower that make their way into that novice category. So the Frosh / novice typically covers both categories of athletes.
And they are just underway.
You can see from this shot here, we got 1 pontoon on the southern side of the starting line, with a second pontoon on the northern end. Main responsibility is calling each crew up to the line, getting them in the chute with enough space between each other. And this is kind of where the role of the coxswain really dictates how strong of a position you have. You kind of want enough distance between the lanes, and also do the task of keeping you aligned as you know, as you're looking across the field there too. So we have to make some adjustments to get everyone lined up, listening to the starter, and then just being ready to go, and when the call comes and the flag drops.
Appreciate everybody writing into the broadcast. Shout out to Kevin Conte, Saldana, Robert Hunter. Thanks, Hunt man. Appreciate you. Miss you, big fella. Mesmorky. Minion Trainer. And that's our friend Kelly. She's got an update for us. Quick update. Orchard Lake St. Mary's baseball, which is across the way, game won, 7-0, and the girls fell to Brighton, 13-0. Thank you, Kelly. So we're going to pause, and we're going to take a timeout, and we got an interview for you on the other side of this break. Thanks for watching Latty Cup 2026.
Lowering the shoulder.
Swing and a miss. McGinley scores!
And it's going to be a challenge for us. I mean, they're a really talented football team. I think everybody knows that.
Four wide receivers. Pressure. Steps up. Marshall wants to run again. Cuts down the middle of the field. All alone. Touchdown! Warriors! What a cut.
We're here with Aiden Jenson, a freshman oarsman for Orchard Lake St. Mary's, about to compete in his first Latty Cup. This has got to be an exciting moment for you as you're getting your rowing career going. What's it been like rowing at Orchard Lake St. Mary's and getting your first experience rowing as a freshman?
It's been really fun. A lot of good competition during the races and really good coaching, helping you to improve every single week, making the most of every single practice.
This is a sport that is a year-round training, and so you coming in as a freshman, what was it like having to adjust and get up to speed about what the training requires in the sport?
It was definitely different. A lot more high-intensity workouts every single day of the week. Got to be on your A game all the time. And definitely was very different at the beginning, but after like a month, got used to it.
Tell us about the boats you're going to be involved with for the Latty Cup on Saturday, and what it's been like to compete with those fellow oarsmen so far this year.
I'm hoping to be in the quad and the 4, and it's been really fun. The race has been really exciting, especially when they're close, and just having like the adrenaline going through, especially during the last 500 when they're close, and you really have to push because every single stroke matters.
What do you know about Laddie, Jack LeBlanc, and the namesake for this event and the Latty Cup?
I don't know much about Laddie, but I know he's a really influential person around the crew, and he was really good. And
well, that's it. He's a legend. There's not a whole lot more to say about it. Listen, thanks a lot for your time. All the best in the Latty Cup races here today.
All right, thank you.
All right. There he is, Aiden Jenson. More to come from Latty Cup right after this.
Chad and Mike back with you. You were looking live on the lake called Orchard. This is the Latty Cup. This is our third straight year covering it, and we're glad to be back. This is schools from Michigan and Ohio, 15 of them participating. We're just over halfway through, and right now we are in the Women's Novice 8. So this is the Women's Novice 8 right now, and it involves Pioneer, Forest Hill Central, St. Joe's Academy, Cranbrook, Orchard Lake St. Mary's, Ann Arbor Huron, and Cranbrook representing twice. Look at Cranbrook throwing a couple boats into the Novice 8, and that's the Eaglet 8, led by Pickering, and that's the 8 she's got in her boat that she's trying to lead to the promised land today in this race. Earlier, the Women's Novice 4 with was won by Ann Arbor Pioneer on the novice side, and then the quad women's earlier novice was won by Forest Hill Central. Who will get this novice race?
Just had a shot of that lane 7 here on boat right now. Looks to be in the lead there, the bottom of our screen.
Lane 7 is Ann Arbor Huron in this novice 8 women's race. The men's second varsity 4 is next.
Got the essential sustenance being grilled up over there for the fine folks on the shore. You were asking earlier
Oh yeah, look at that.
The routine off the water this is a big part of it right here. You got to have the fuel for those.
That's where those 5-in-1 hot dogs came from. There's Miss Smarecki. Yeah, that's the scene right there. Uh-huh. That's the kind of posse coming at you. Rowing comes deep and in waves.
You burn a lot of calories out there. You got to replenish,
For sure. What was your favorite in race or just after race snack?
I mean, shout out to the Hartsock family, kept us fueled up with their own trailer there to bring up, and I mean, you had steaks, you had baked potatoes, you name it, we had it
in between a race.
This is more
like,
afterwards.
Oh, I'm asking in a race, bro.
In between, there was you kind of had the protein bars essentially.
Okay.
Just enough to get your stomach, something in your stomach, but you can't be out there with a full.
You're not ripping off a ribeye
afterwards. You are correct.
Right. Okay.
Yep,
Fair enough.
Yep. We got a lane 4 there with St. Joseph Academy. We can see in the purple shell, trailing that fast boat number lane 7 with Huron there in the yellow hull. Looks like we got our on the water coverage fired back up there too.
Yeah, we got a St. Joe's fan that's quite passionate. There's passion that comes with these races.
Yeah, passion. Sometimes you got cowbells. Sometimes you got popcorn jugs. You name it, you got it.
You know what we could use? More cowbell.
I got a fever.
I have not heard enough cowbell here today.
And the only cure is more cowbell. Right.
I could use more St. Joe's mom as well. Yelling, she's cheering. And St. Joe's has given them a lot to cheer about, establishing 2011 one of the top women's rowing programs in the Midwest and a national title contender year in and year out. And we've got our finish. That's number 1.
Ladies from Huron.
And Ann Arbor, Huron. So how about it?
Second place, St. Joe's Academy. As we heard the SJA chants there. Lane 2 there, crossing the finish line. Pioneer.
By the way, St. Joe's is out of Cleveland. The men's second varsity 4 is about to begin. There you see the post-race relief look. And then the finish. So for Ann Arbor Huron, that is their first of the day, I believe. It is.
I think you're right.
Their rivals from across town, Pioneer, has a first place, but so stand up Ann Arbor. Both schools getting some work done at the novice level. Men's second varsity 4 is next.
You asked me earlier, what would Laddie be saying? I do also recall the moms crew, often led by Julie LeBlanc and Renee and those guys. And the chants would be Orchard Lake, Orchard Lake. So as a rower, that's the only thing you can hear is pretty much that last 200 meters of the race. And the start, you're way out there, and you start hearing that crowd, you start hearing your chants, you're getting closer. So the audio,
you can hear it, huh?
The audio a lot of times is your cue of where you are as well. The closer you can hear the fans, because not all courses have buoys along the whole way, so you kind of have to judge where you are based upon the duration of the race, and then the audio aspect of it too. So having the moms and dads and grandparents and everyone cheering you along, that's adding fuel to your fire in that last 20, 30 strokes too. So that's some fond memories there.
For sure. You also understood the tradition a bit coming into it. Your older brother, Neil, rowed. Was an oarsman, graduated in 94. Did Luke row?
He did not.
Okay.
He was,
all right, so we'll skip him for now.
Baseball player in the spring, that's right.
That's right. But Neil, a dear friend of mine, as well as your brother, was a 94 grad, and they had a fine season that year as well with Chattabule, who we'll speak to coming up shortly, and a boat with Tim Harrington and Brett Holling and Josh Polovich, and we'll get further into that boat. Jim McBroom, I know, was a part of that program, but
that's right.
It's just different layers. It's good to see guys from the 80s, the 90s, and 2000s all kind of represented here today. I know Shane Doyle, a big part of the alumni group with
That's
rowing
right.
with yourself.
Yep.
It stays so intact. Petrucci, I know all the folks. It's a deep line of tradition that has come together. Small numbers in those early days, too, we should note.
Right.
With a school that had, 200-ish kids at the time.
Right.
Now there's 1,000, and there's girls. It's a different school.
That's right. And, part of the experience as a younger sibling coming up here and you're hanging out and you're watching races and it's not really dawning you at the time, but matriculating here in my later years and you sort of say, hey, this is a sport I identify with and would love to participate in, and sort of plants a seed early. So running around those early regattas with the folks you just mentioned and experiencing that made a huge impression on me and led into my interest in the sport. So it's a great showcase for the up-and-coming, grade schoolers around the region to kind of plant that seed early.
Yeah, and we've seen the multiple layers of generations and the
Absolutely.
legacy that have come back today, and we're seeing it in these boats. And there you see St. Joe's fan. Yeah,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Fired up.
That's the voice of St. Joe's right there. Yeah. And okay, so we are in the men's second varsity 4. And we are coming to the finish. And what do we have here, sir? So we'll get the final. As they come in, we can't see them all. We don't have those electronic devices up to speed yet. They'll get here. Up next is the men's first varsity 4. So the men's first varsity 4 is next. That's a big one. We look forward to that. And we also anticipate the results of the men's second varsity 4, which is coming up in just a moment, as you're looking across Orchard Lake, and inside a boat full of gold. And I think that's St. Ed's or St. Ignatius.
This is that first. This is lane 1 with Huron finishing up here.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
There's our timing crew right there as well. Staying warm with appropriate coverage.
Ann Wright, a big part of that. We thank Ann Wright for her help. Her son Don Wright, an assistant coach under Chris Zarnecki, and an acting head coach as well in some of the boats. As you see, a lot going on down Indian Trail.
A lot of these folks too, Chad, they not just a Latty Cup, gig for them. These guys chip in across the Mitten Series, the state championships, and really just raise their game each year and help out the region with some really fantastic officiating and score and timekeeping there.
At some point.
And as you mentioned, we have this current race in progress, as we see with the men's first varsity 4 with. Quick orientation of lane 1 with St. Edward's A, lane 2 Northview, lane 3 St. Edward's B boat, lane 4 Forest Hills Central, lane 5 St. Mary's, lane 6 Huron, lane 7 Pioneer, and then lane 8 Saline for this event number 39 for us, men's varsity 4 width.
You see the Cox, Aspinall, Blair, Dombrowski. By the way, there's 2 Dombrowskis, and that's another legacy family.
That's right.
Nick Dombrowski, the father of both Dombrowski boys that are rowing today, they're in a boat together. That's a really cool thing. It's Max Dombrowski in one of the boats, and Nick Dombrowski. So Max and Nick.
And that last shot was the second varsity 4 width, and here's our first varsity 4 width lineup.
John Brown, the Cox, Evan Caju, Stempian, Morogi, and Fox in the men's first varsity 4. And here we are. Down the stretch we come, partner.
We got lane 5 with decent amount of open water right now. That would be the St. Mary's crew. Good close shot there. Last couple strokes of this race for those boys. And then a really tight race coming in here for second place.
So the Eaglets take first. Second is too tight to call. Who's in between? It looks like, well, that's also too close to call. We'll get you the finals. We know Orchard Lake St. Mary's has won it, though.
Yes, in that men's first varsity 4 width that just concluded, and then we'll get the results for the second varsity 4 width once it's finalized there as well.
The second varsity 4 still unfinalized. Do we know who got first on that or no? Not yet. No.
Don't have that right
That's
now.
okay. That one they're taking some time on. But we know that Orchard Lake St. Mary's has just finished first in this race. The men's first varsity 4. The women's second varsity 4 is next. We're running about 10 minutes ahead of schedule. How about it?
I think we also notched up 3 degrees. I got a 47 right now. So
You got a 47.
I'm seeing a 47, am I?
Which means it feels like 41 or 39.
Plus or minus. Hopefully out of the frost warning.
Yeah, we're still trying to get out of the frost warning. The dogs don't even want to be outside. The dogs are trying to hide. Put a sweater on that dog. A preppy sweater at that. We're at the Latty Cup. There's some of the cribs in Orchard Lake on Indian Trail, and there's the shoreline. As we flip from across the street to on the water and high in the sky with our drone shot, the women's second varsity 4.
With Coxon, that's correct, yes.
And that Coxon is Matthias with Curtin, Daniels, Ross, and LaButte for OLSM. Now, there's 2 Rosses as well. That's Evie Ross. Her sister Sadie Ross is the senior. And Sadie is a national champion at the junior world level.
This race features 5 boats. Right now we have a lane 2, Shaker Heights A, lane 3, Orchard Lake St. Mary's, a scratch in lane 4, and then lane 5 is Huron, lane 6 is Pioneer A, lane 7 Shaker Heights B, and another scratch if you're looking at the schedule with a Pioneer B. So we have a 5-boat race right now. From right to left would be that lane 2 is Shaker A. with the edge currently in the hands of Orchard Lake in lane 3.
By the way, the Eaglets have out of that boat college-bound student athletes that are headed next year to the next level to row. Maddie Curtin to Indiana. Sydney LaButte also going to be a Hoosier. Sadie Ross, who we mentioned, headed to Rutgers. Avery Daniels going to be a Golden Gopher in Minnesota. Khloe Filatro headed to Washington, as we talked about earlier. Nika Latishevsky headed to Louisville. And Ava Gallegos to Duquesne.
A lot of talent among that ladies squad there for sure.
It is. And Czar has said it's more than caught up to our boys' side. And, you know, there are more opportunities as well for young women to get a chance to go and row. The men's side is quite competitive as far as getting a seat in a college boat these days. Things are tough. But there's openings, and women's rowing is growing so aggressively. And Orchard Lake St. Mary's girls' side is really adding to that whole demographic that is rather new at the college level and opportunistic to get in this, and St. Mary's has really participated well.
Absolutely. And the moment that you have the draw that this team has established among these programs, you get eyes and ears from the coaching, all the recruiting that takes place and pays attention to what goes on this program as well. So it's a great way for these ladies to pay dividends for those that follow and open doors for them. And that puts you on the national stage there too in the sights of a lot of those programs.
You bet. Again, we welcome our viewers on our YouTube channel. If you could please subscribe to the broadcast you're watching. We appreciate all the commentary as well. Luca Miliani, Natasha Bonilla, Saldana, Nappy Nap, and Neil Parker, of course, representing Nappy Nap. That's your brother.
That's correct. Shout out, bro.
What up, Neilio?
Tuning in live from Georgia currently.
Yes. Always great to hear from your brother, even if it's on YouTube, on the chat. I know he'll be making his way north shortly. There's a look inside the boat of, is that Pioneer?
That was that men's first varsity 4, one of the finishing crews there, making their way back. Yeah, it looks like Pioneer.
I know that Pioneer purple when I see it.
Coming into the last 200 meters of this women's second varsity 4 final. Get Orchard Lake in lane 3 with a healthy open water lead over lane 7 Shaker B. Looks to be duking it out with their lane neighbor there in lane 6 with Pioneer A.
So we await this women's second varsity 4 results. What do we know, Mr. Parker? Who won it? Do we know yet?
From our vantage point, that was the Lady Eaglets of Orchard Lake in lane 3, coming across the line first there, followed by what would appear to be lane 7 with Shaker Heights B boat, and then in third it looked like Pioneer A.
Okay. There you look inside that boat, and the Eaglets celebrating. Another win on the girls' side.
And as we just wrapped up that second varsity women's 4, move on to the first varsity women's 4.
That was
about a minute underway here.
Sorry, Mike. That was the 5th first place finish for the St. Mary's women today. Here's a look inside the varsity 4 with Khloe Filatro headed to Washington. Sadie Ross, as we mentioned, headed to Indiana, or Rutgers rather, my bad. Latisinski headed to Louisville in that boat. Casara and Gallegos headed to Duquesne. So, I mean, that's a loaded boat with high expectations, Michael. We'll see how they finish here.
We'll see how they finish. And from right to left there, a little bit out of the frame currently, but we got Orchard Lake in lane 1. We got Shaker Heights in lane 2, Forest Hill Central lane 3, Pioneer in lane 4, Huron in lane 5, St. Joseph Academy lane 6, East Grand Rapids lane 7, St. Ursula in lane 8 there.
Thank you, sir. This boat finished, no surprise, first place at the Mitten Series 1. And high expectations. This is a boat that's a national title contender, no doubt.
Showing that speed today as well, which they're so fast we can't see them in the frame there, but off to the right-hand side in lane 1, there we go. We got Orchard Lake ladies right now currently in the lead with, call it, coming up on the halfway point here at the 750-meter mark out in the course.
The men's junior 8 is to follow. After this one, just 5 more races. Can smell the finish line. We're in the 4th quarter, so to speak. Down the stretch we come, so to speak.
In the 4th quarter, and these ladies are facing the second half, and that's kind of absolutely where, especially if some of these athletes out there, this is their first varsity 4.
Right.
Many of whom participate in the first varsity 8 that went off the line and the 12 o'clock hour. So putting a lot of mileage in out there these days.
There you see our boat side camera. Brad Ross toughing that one out. I think he's been in and out of 4 boats today, but one of the boats kept him finally. They threw him out of a boat. I don't know what he was doing, but he's back. We're glad to have him live on the water. Glad to be live on Orchard Lake on this first Saturday in May. And boy, does it not feel like May quite yet. We're getting there, but it's Michigan. We're used to this, right?
That's right.
Yeah, we're literally on the lake. In fact, Pat the stat about a foot from the water. If I wanted to push him in, which I wanted to earlier, I could. But he's better now.
And Chad, as you know, dive team lead Lieutenant Tom Parker would tell you it's always colder by the water, so you got to be prepared. You know, when that wind comes off that water.
Shout out to your dad, Mr. Lieutenant Tom Parker. Your mother as well. They had to put up with you 3 boys, and they deserve far more than I could ever tell them on this broadcast. So shout out to not only your father, but your mother, Linda, as well.
That's right.
And all the fine Parkers. We've got a tight one, partner.
That's right.
In this women's first varsity 4, what do we see here?
We got the ladies of Orchard Lake there far out on the right-hand side of lane 1, still maintaining their lead, coming into the last 20 strokes here. Folks are fired up along the shoreline as well.
Yeah.
pushing them is in lane 5, Huron. Really stepping it up here in that final 500 meters. Who got some distance on their lane partner there in lane 4 with Pioneer.
So Filatro leading this boat across the water in first place once again, along with Sadie Ross, Latisinski, Kazara, and Gallegos. This is the prize boat for the Eaglets. They finish first, followed by Ann Arbor Huron. Men's Junior 8 is next. 5 races remain, and that's an exhausted boat before your very eyes right there.
You know, and then as a senior, the final home race, final strokes.
Sure.
Almost like your last shot in the basketball court, coming off the court there on senior day. And yeah, it's kind of can be an emotional kind of experience as well.
Yeah. That's a good point, too. You said senior day. It's kind of all of that in one, isn't it? It's your home meet. It's your senior day.
Yeah.
It's, you know, to try to get your placement for the state championships next week. I mean, it's everything in one.
Absolutely. You know, and if this is your last race of this day as a senior, that's your last competitive stroke on this lake that you put a lot of hours in your training. So it's all those emotions can be bundled in a very finite window there after finishing a race like that.
Yeah, and understandable. And they're all having their moments now. There you see the bows. Yeah, the swag is a big part of it, isn't it?
Absolutely, man. Get those
Are they
t-shirts,
making swag?
They are. Absolutely.
Okay. You see presses, you see things being made. Love, Peace, and Threads, one of our sponsors. The granddaughter of Laddie, Amy Wecker, one of the co-owners of Love, Peace, and Threads. We'll take a timeout and send you to Love, Peace, and Threads now. Love, Peace, and Threads Design Bar, a unique new fashion experience in downtown Milford. Get ready to elevate your style by stepping foot in their design shop. Love, Peace, and Threads Design Bar offers specialized collections of custom apparel. They've got custom denim jackets and sweatshirts to dresses and hats, and they've got a variety of options to choose from. Whether you're looking for a one-of-a-kind piece or you want to set a new fashion trend, their store has got you covered with endless customization options. But that's not all. Their design bar is also the perfect place for a fun and creative night out. And you can do a celebration, book a party, and bring the full experience. Gather your family or friends and design your own custom jacket, complete with patches and your own personal touches, and unleash your imagination and create something truly special with their hands-on design experience. Love, Peace, Threads Design Bar is more than just a store. It's a place where fashion meets creativity and community. The end. Ah, yes. The journey with the boats down Indian Trail, out of the water, and into the frying pan. Welcome back to the Latty Cup 2026. Chad Bush, Michael Parker with you. Sienna Smith, our reporter, she'll join us again shortly. But there you see, part of the work. The work's not done when you're off the water. You got to go carry that thing.
You got to carry that thing. You got to empty the water. Sometimes it dumps on you, and then you get to drop it to your shoulder. You're going over different levels. So if you're, in the stern and you got to carry the boat, and it's, all the weight's on your shoulder. It's after you're just gassed from a race. It's quite a process.
Yeah, and that water falls on you when it's 41 degrees, and it's all just fun. The fun is coming to a close, and so we're down to our final 5 races. The men's junior 8 is happening now. So if you look on the far right side, 5 up from the bottom, that's where we're at. 3:04 start expected. Again, we're consistently about 10 minutes ahead of that schedule right now. So this is an important race when you look at all the scoring and all the things. I mean, this is where you start to think, all right, as a team, like we need to get some points here.
Absolutely, right. You get a little preview, too, of who's fast and the older boats in terms of the varsity 8s, the second varsity 8s. And sometimes that correlates, sometimes it doesn't. The juniors can be at a different level than the varsities as well. So we'll really see what happens here in this junior 8 final, which features eight boats across. And from right to left there, we got in lane 1 on the right-hand side with Cranbrook B. Lane 2, we have St. Ignatius of Cleveland. Lane 3, we have St. Ed's. Lane 4, we have Pioneer. Lane 5, Forest Hill Central. Lane 6, St. John's Jesuit. Lane 7, Cranbrook A. And lane 8, East Grand Rapids.
All right, all right. The women's junior 8 is next. The men with just one more race after this. There are no eaglet boats in this men's junior 8.
So far, minute 28 into this race. We got some speed out of lane 3, St. Ed's. Lane 6 and 7, St. John's and Cranbrook.
Now the sun wants to make its way out. Well, sure. We'll greet you with some wide open arms. Hello, sun.
I think that's Jack smelling down on us right now.
That's it. Laddie with a grin, smoking that pipe, saying, I got you, lad. Oh, man. What would he think of all this now with what it's grown to and how this program has just blossomed under Chris Zarnecki and Don Wright and David Strachan and Michael Pettit. These guys have really grown this program and taken it to new levels and new heights. Laddie be proud, wouldn't he?
Yeah, absolutely. And just regionally, too, the speed in the Midwest these days is well represented regionally. That's an important thing and a good sign of health and momentum for the sport. Absolutely. You can't ask for more than just doing your part to promote that and paying it forward to the folks behind you.
Chris Zarnecki in his 21st year, 15 years here at Orchard Lake St. Mary's, teaches English as well. He coaches English at the high school, Orchard Lake St. Mary's. He's a grad of Rochester Adams in '94. Went to Grand Valley, where he rode, and that's where he connected with Don LeBlanc and got involved and got to understand the way of the LeBlanc way and the Orchard Lake St. Mary's rowing program, which he was introduced to. And Czar he's one of the real ones, and he's a pleasure to work with, and he is the true leader of this program. And he also can cook a little bit. And so we saw the grills going on down there, but Czar put him on a grill. He can do it everything. He can do it all. Versatile, multi-talented. And I always feel about 5 levels stupider than Czar when I speak with him, because as an English expert, he's always throwing out 50-cent words, and
There's a couple
it's a learning moment.
Yeah, absolutely, a couple insofars in there. You don't hear very often. Yeah,
I love it.
A lot of Czar terms we love.
Yes, yes. Down the stretch we come. This is tight, Michael. What do we have here?
We still got a lead being maintained by that speed out of St. Ed's there in lane 3.
The Eddies continuing to roll. The boys from the west side of Cleveland striding and strutting to the finish.
And then lane 6 appears to be that second finisher there, St. John's Jesuit.
St. John's Jesuit out of Toledo finishes second. They're a Catholic leaguer. 3 Catholic League teams here today: Orchard Lake St. Mary's, Cranbrook, and St. John's Jesuit. St. Ursula, also a Catholic League school, in the Detroit Catholic League, I should say. My bad. Didn't want to leave them out. They're a newer member, like St. John's Jesuit, but they are a member on the girls' side of things. So, this race is concluded. That's the final boat to cross in the women's junior 8. Men's varsity duel is next. Did I get it right?
Next up is the women's junior 8, actually, right?
I'm
The
sorry.
312.
Yeah, way off there.
Yes.
Sorry. The women's junior 8 is
Right.
next. Then the men's varsity.
Then you have the double. Correct.
Double. Okay.
Yes.
I was wrong anyway. I said dual. See, that's where I needed you. I thought we were like on a page.
It's the freeze advisory. It gets you, you know.
Is it a freeze advisory still, Pathostat? A frost advisory. That's what I meant. Oh, we are the Prep. Follow us on our social medias: TikTok, X, Instagram, Facebook, and what you're watching on here, our YouTube channel. If you could please subscribe, we'd love that. And you'll get high school action all year long. Join our sponsorship team if you want to sponsor or have a broadcast yourself at your school for your child. Hit us up. info@theprepsports.com. We do 12 different sports. We do the state of Michigan, of course, the entire state. And we dabble in Ohio. And we dabble in Indiana. We dabble in Illinois. So get at us. My name is Chad Bush. He's Michael Parker. Sienna Smith standing by on this glorious Saturday afternoon and the first Saturday in May. Cloudy, cold, windy, yet glorious. This is the Latty Cup and its 16th rendition. There's a good look at the groups after the finish. Rowing back to applause and appreciation from the home shore. We'll have all the standings updated for you at the conclusion of this one.
As we're waiting for the start of that women's junior 8 final, we got the official results from the women's first varsity 4 with Coxon there at with Orchard Lake taking a time of 5:43 in first place there, followed by Huron with a time of 5:48, and then Pioneer with a time of 5:56 in that third place for the women's first varsity 4.
Appreciate that. As we mentioned, we do have, there's like 5 winners in all of this, right? You got the overall, then you've got the 4 different sections of men skull and men shell, and then women's skull and women's shell.
Sweep, close enough.
Close enough, whatever. So the overall right now appears to be clinched, and Orchard Lake St. Mary's has the three-peat. They have clinched the overall championship of the Latty Cup. So congratulations to the Eaglets for their first ever three-peat in this event. And of course, they didn't really have the opportunity to do it before they had all girls. Right?
Fair, yeah.
So I mean, this is That's what we call the overall. But the other ones, there's other schools competing for the top of the order. We still have 4 other races to finish here at the Latty Cup.
Shot of the starting line there along Commerce Road in the corner there of Orchard Lake, kind of the northwest corner of the lake. See the 8s getting lined up with the women's junior 8 there. We got one pontoon on each side flanking that, using powered megaphones to get the crews aligned there. You see the pontoon over there being manned by Shane Doyle, class of '89, Andrew Sawyer, coach of the mid-90s, and we're off to a start. The women's junior 4-8 final.
All right.
Excuse me, junior 8 final.
That's the women's junior 8. Matthias the Cox with Hermes, Abraham, Smarecki, Berger, Hames, Aspinall, Kronman, and Macaulay. The women's junior 8.
6-boat race here with the first lane being lane 2 with Notre Dame Academy. We got lane 3 with Cranbrook, lane 4 Forest Hills Central, lane 5 St. Joe's, lane 6 Orchard Lake St. Mary's, and then lane 7 St. Joe's B, with that lane 5 being their A boats. So
Awesome.
Shot of the lane 5 ladies right there. With the purple blades, purple unis.
This group took first place at the Mitten Series 2 last week. So high expectations in this race.
High expectations and in the lead by about, I'll call it maybe 3 or 4 seats over that lane 6 there with St. Mary's. It's across that first buoy, which is signifies the first 500, that first third part of the race. So you burn off the adrenaline, and then your training starts setting here.
Is that what it is? Do you break it down into 3 different segments, Michael, if you were to kind of break it?
Absolutely. You got your start strategy. Obviously, you're going from a boat that's stationary in the water, and so the fastest way to get that boat up to speed without spinning your wheels are a series of shorter strokes. And there's a little bit of art and science there too. What works for your boat? How do you, in your training, what do you prepare for? Some half, 3/4, and quarter length strokes, depending on what the coxswains dial up for that race to get that boat at full speed. So you're taking partial strokes, maybe call it 5 strokes or so to get up to speed. Come out of the gates with maybe a starting 20 that's at a higher stroke rate than your base race speed. Really just allows you to get separation. If you can get some separation there, sometimes some psychological impacts can get you a lead that break the will of your competitor next to you. It also, again, burns off that adrenaline, and about, call it somewhere 20 strokes in, you hit your settle pace. And for every crew, that's a little bit different. Sometimes somewhere in the high 30 strokes per minute to low 40 strokes per minute is kind of the base pace that you typically would see in high school and collegiate rowing there.
Right on. We're about midway through at this point. Yeah, there's a lot of splash cities going on. Good call, A-Dub. If there was ever a splash city you don't want today, it's in that boat. You don't want Crab City either.
Trying to stay dry for sure. Wow. Racing, 6 inches off the water there. So
that's it. Stand by, Sienna Smith. We'll talk to an eaglet rower next. But this one right now, As the chants start to come from behind us, the women's junior 8 has got a lot of height behind it with their first place finish in the Mitten Series 2 last week. And SJA also in this one, so St. Joe's, St. Mary's, this one has a lot of meaning to it, Michael.
That's right. Looks like St. Joe's getting a little bit of open water there, called by about a half a boat there right now in St. Mary's. Into this last 500 with about 250 to go here.
3 races after this, that's all that's left. The men's varsity 2, the women's varsity 1, and the women's varsity 2. I know those were all wrong too, by the way.
Directionally correct. So we'll focus on this race here, finishing with lane 5. St. Joseph Academy in the lead there, maintaining that about a boat length distance over their lane 6 competitor.
SJA will win it, it looks like. It'll be St. Joe's second first place finish today. They knock off a St. Mary's boat. It's been highly touted.
And here comes their B boat in lane 7. Coming up for 3rd place here. So we got a St. Joseph sandwich with 1st and 3rd there.
That's
St.
good.
Mary's in the middle.
That's very good. St. Joe's sandwich. It's time now to go to Double S. She's got a guest. Sienna Smith, take it away.
Here with Mario Morogi, current senior in the men's varsity 8 and the men's varsity 4. Mario, tell me, what does it mean to you racing for the last time on this lake, your last Latty Cup?
I mean, it means a lot. I spent 4 years rowing here every single day. No, it means a lot. And being able to end how we did with 2 goals, it feels really good.
For sure, that was a great race to watch. Walk me through from your seat, your perspective, how that went down. What was the energy in the boat?
The energy was high. We were ready to throw down. We wanted it really bad. And we think we can go far with this boat, so we want to see what we could put down throughout this race. So we just did what we could, and it worked out.
What were you hearing from your coxswain in those last 500 meters?
He was just screaming at us to keep it going, keep it clean, don't hit the water, and just send it.
Yeah, speaking of keeping it clean, when you're out there and the fatigue starts to set in, the conditions are getting rough, what are you telling yourself, what are you focusing on technically to keep everything clean and good?
A good thing to focus on is we focus on our breathing, and then we just focus on keeping everything steady so that we just keep the boat set, because the more set, the less tiring it is, and then you just keep it going because everyone's tired, and it's just who can fight through the fatigue more.
Exactly. Did anything surprise you during that race?
I mean, we had a really good sprint at the end, and we gained a good amount of time. I mean, yeah.
Yeah, that was clear on the broadcast. Thank you, Mario.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Double S with double M. And we appreciate it. Mario Morogi and Sienna Smith. And we are getting down to the end. The men's varsity double is upon us now. It's Oatman and it's Decina in this boat. And they're underway, and down the stretch we come here.
And here's the B boat here as well.
And the B boat with Keller and Graysmark for the St. Mary's varsity double. So they'll have 2 of the boats in this. Who else is in it, Michael?
We are featuring East Grand Rapids in lane 1. Got that OLS and B boat in lane 2. We got Huron in lane 3. Saline A in lane 4. And that's Orchard Lake A boat in lane 5. Forest Hills has their A boat in lane 6. Saline B is in lane 7. And Shaker Heights in lane 8. The 8th lane being the top on our screen right now. And then 1 being the bottom with appears to be a
Oh, a boat is over.
Capsized boat currently that needs to be addressed. That happens, especially with the smaller boats. And that's why we have chase boat referees that first and foremost primary responsibility is safety. So we're addressing that currently with a capsize in lane 6.
I can't imagine being in that water right now.
Looks like the Forest Hill Central boat in lane 6.
Okay.
We get our officials addressing it ASAP.
Who are the officials on the scene there?
We got various people out there right now.
That's all right. I didn't mean to put you on the
No,
spot.
it's all good. We got obviously a Stillwater. We got a aluminum shell out there that various alums from.
Here's a look at it. Here's the replay of the finish and the fall. And
yeah, right there at that final stroke.
Splash City.
That's one way to end it.
Everybody's safe. They're in a boat. And all's well that ends well.
And this is, Chad, this is the benefit of being on Orchard Lake versus, call it, the Delaware River, the Schuylkill River, the water
Thames.
you don't want to touch.
Thames.
The Thames is okay. The Thames is okay. But that water you don't want to have open wounds touch. But this one, feel free to hop in Splash City. You may see some coxswains being thrown in later as well. But
oh, boy. All's well that ends well. Can we recap do we get finishes on that yet or no?
a little bit distracted by the capsizing.
Understandable.
However, our top-notch timing crew has the Celine A boat in lane 4, got first place there, time 5:44. Shaker Heights took second, 5:47. OLSM A boat took 5:50.
So congratulations.
The capsized Forest Hills, I think, was that lane 6 that they took 4th, but held their lead over Celine B, which was a second behind there. So paid off.
Yeah, no, they deserve a shout out too.
They're showing their muscles right now as they go by, doing the pump out there.
Okay. The Celine Hornets victorious. So Celine takes 1 in the men's varsity double, and it's now time to shift to the women's varsity single. And it's all on the shoulders of the Rutgers-bound senior Sadie Ross, who will represent Orchard Lake St. Mary's in her boat amongst the others.
Which in lane 1, this one features Northview's single rower there. Lane 2 is obviously Orchard Lake, who's just covered. Lane 3 is East Grand Rapids. Lane 4 is Cranbrook. Lane 5, excuse me, we started with lane 2. Apologies. Lane 5 is Cranbrook. Lane 6 is Celine. Lane 7, East Grand Rapids. And then lane 8 is another Orchard Lake boat, B.
One race after this. That's the women's varsity pair. See we've ended. It's all come
Finally
full circle.
Absolutely. I knew we could get you there, man.
Teacher and pupil. So this, you're all alone out there now. Have you ever rowed a single?
I was not the one chosen for the single. That was Mike Flipyak was our sculler single rower.
Did you ever practice though, or just mess around as a single?
Once in a blue moon, yeah. It was every so often.
What's the difference as a single that you have to focus on versus being a part of a pair or a team?
The set of the boat is entirely on you, so you can't blame anyone else, and you're not trying to counteract the person in front of you. So it's your entire responsibility to have your body positioned in the middle, your oar heights also be equal on both sides. So it's quite the challenge to keep it all together there.
I can imagine. So this one about to finish, and who do we have? It looks like, is that lane 8? Or lane 1?
That's lane 6 here, coming across here. That would be Celine, lane 6 that just finished.
So Celine, back to back. They got it on the girls' side in the previous race now, or on the men's side. Now they get it on the girls' side. So the Hornets coming hot to the party, if not a little tardy. Celine has been a strong program and represented well. They were established in 2004. They row on Ford Lake, which is right beside, of course, Eastern Michigan. And it's also the alma mater of one of Orchard Lake St. Mary's coaches, Michael Pettit. And they have shown superiority in sculling events.
As exhibited here today.
As exhibited here today. So this is coming to a close as the final boat crosses. But congratulations to Celine on the first finish. The final race of the day, the women's varsity pair. And that's underway to our north. All good things must come to a close. Latty Cup 2026 is on the brink.
This race features a 5-boat final here with starting lane 2, Notre Dame Academy. We got lane 3 with Huron. Lane 4, St. Ursula. Lane 5 is Northview, and then lane 6 is Orchard Lake.
You mentioned Northview. They led by Rick Anderson, who also established the team at Rockford. They also have been known for their sculling advantages.
Last race is on the water.
Pat, the stats says the last race is started.
Last race is started. Shout out to my family in Columbus, Ohio, with my kids Evie and Finn.
Absolutely. What's up, Evie and Finn?
Mom Hillary's holding the fort down there in Columbus, and they're tuning in as we speak.
Couldn't do it without her.
Watching this final race of the ladies pair. Laying in the line
Hillary?
between lanes 4 and lane 6. St. Ursula and Orchard Lake.
We should have just one more. Is it just one more graphic show of the boat? One more boat? This is it. Yeah, did you show it already? Yeah, we should. Again, Latisinski headed to Louisville. Part of this pair boat for Orchard Lake St. Mary's.
Look at this shot right here, Chad. That's coming down to these two crews right here.
It's a great shot right there. Brad Ross. Boss Ross has been on that boat. He's been on other boats too, but this one he belongs on.
So especially in these small boats, you know, there's not a lot of wiggle room or allowance to turn your heads. You're kind of relying on peripheral vision to kind of, you know, and you have no coxswain to also tell you where you are. But when you're this close side by side, the Orchard Lake ladies starting to get some distance here, putting their competition behind them. But still plenty of race to go, and wind's picking up, and we saw what happened with that men's quad, or excuse me, the men's double.
Yep.
So we'll just have to keep a close eye on this race here coming into the last 500.
Grace Kazara, Nika Latisinski, representing Orchard Lake St. Mary's amongst this great group, coming to the finish, coming to the close. Well, is it next week we'll have the state title? I think next week.
I believe so.
State title at Kensington.
Yep.
And then Midwest at Kensington. Yeah. Or that's down in Tennessee. And then it's, of course, out to Canada, to our friends of the North and the Schoolboy Classic.
Up there in St. Catharines for sure. You got the
St. Kitts, St. Cats, tomato.
Exactly, right. And then
what did Laddie used to call it?
For him, it was Kitts.
So it's Kitts. There's a great look right there with the school in the background. Orchard Lake St. Mary's, and their pair, the women's varsity pair, bringing it home. And we've got a finish across the way. And we'll try to find out who it was.
That would be St. Ursula.
Ursula gets the win. Yes?
St. Mary's followed by Ursula. Yeah. St. Mary's 1, St. Ursula 2.
All right. So congratulations to the Eaglets, who win the final race with Kazara and Latisinski. And it closes things out. You mentioned St. Ursula was second in that?
Yes.
Of course, they established their rowing in the early 90s. They row on the Maumee River in Toledo. And they were actually in the women's Henley included. We're going to come back with hopefully some scores. And we'll wrap things up from Orchard Lake. It's been a pleasure and honor. It's not so long. It's goodbye for now. But we're back with results right after this. Thanks for watching today. Appreciate it, everybody. We're the Prep. Love Peace and Threads Design Bar, a unique new fashion experience in downtown Milford. Get ready to elevate your style by stepping foot in their design shop. Love Peace and Threads Design Bar offers specialized collections of custom apparel. They've got custom denim jackets and sweatshirts to dresses and hats, and they've got a variety of options to choose from. Whether you're looking for a one-of-a-kind piece or you want to set a new fashion trend, their store has got you covered with endless customization options. But that's not all. Their design bar is also the perfect place for a fun and creative night out. And you can do a celebration, book a party, and bring the full experience. Gather your family or friends and design your own custom jacket, complete with patches and your own personal touches, and unleash your imagination and create something truly special with their hands-on design experience. Love Peace Threads Design Bar is more than just a store. It's a place where fashion meets creativity and community. The end.
Look, everybody wanna go and talk. At the same time, gotta walk it. Better yet, run, go, hit a lick, divvy up with my homies, and we do it all again. Whenever we get it, there's no hesitation.
If you are looking for a life-changing workout experience, look no further than Pure Barre Novi. We are proud to help you achieve your fitness goals while joining a vibrant, supportive community that is over 300 women strong. Our classes are designed to strengthen and tone your entire body, and our teachers can help provide modifications for any fitness level. Find out more right now by calling 248-596-0002, visiting our website, following us on social media, or by coming to our studio right on Grand River Avenue in Novi. We can't wait to see you and help you achieve your fitness goals.
St. Mary's is a place where boys come to find their place in the world. It's not just a place where we learn what to think, it's a place where we learn how to think. Education of the mind can be found almost anywhere. Education of the soul is what I've been taught at St. Mary's. So, if you think you're ready to be a part of our tradition rooted in success, come see for yourself how St. Mary's is more than just a school.
Lowering the shoulder.
Swing and a miss. McKinley scores!
Welcome back to the Latty Cup 2026. The numbers, they are coming in. And yeah, St. Mary's is the host of the Latty Cup, but there's others that make this go. As we told you, 14 other schools, and one of those schools that's here is East Grand Rapids. And standing by, Sienna Smith, to find out what it's like to come to the Latty Cup. Sienna's going to find out from East Grand Rapids' finest. Sienna.
Here with Charles Persinger, current senior at East Grand Rapids. Tell me, Charles, what is it like coming to Latty Cup? How many years have you been coming? How does it stack up against other regattas? What has your experience been?
So this is my 4th year coming to Latty Cup, and I think it's a really fun regatta. It's always nice to have some serious competition before Midwest. Typically the weather's a lot nicer than today, and the water is always beautiful here. So I really enjoy that, especially with the sun and the harsher competition before the championship season.
Now, what is it like? It definitely stacks up differently being a lake versus a river and the buoys, the course. Tell me, as a coxswain, what is it like steering this course?
It's actually really similar to our home lake. Since we row on Reed's Lake, we don't have a river. So dealing with the wind is definitely different than a place like Kensington, which might be more protected. So even though it's different, it's not the most difficult, I think, but it's still a lot of fun, and it's really nice to row on. So.
Yeah, so you were coxing the women's varsity 8 and women's varsity 4. What were some of the calls you were making out there today, some of the highlights of your races?
Yeah, so our coaches this week have been really focused on connection, so just a lot of technical stuff, building that power, and then also just motivation calls for the rowers, reminding them to do it for their teammates and do it for the other people in the boat to make it easier and just get across that line as fast as we can.
Definitely. Thank you, Charles, and good luck the rest of the season.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Charles. Thank you, Sienna Smith. Great work all day. Sienna Smith, pro's pro. Just like my partner to my left, Michael Parker. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you. Thank you, Chad. Thank you to the prep. Another fantastic broadcast. We always tune in remotely as well, all the things you guys cover for this school and many others, many different sports. Quite a legacy you're creating here.
Thank you, man. We couldn't do it without our great team, and thanks for being a part of that. And of course, our production team, second to none. We're thankful for them for gutting it out as we get ready here to reveal the results of the 2026 Latty Cup. And we'll have those coming up next on the other side of this timeout. You're watching the Preps coverage of Latty Cup 2026, the 16th rendition. The store is set up. He's got the order, and he's off. It's a full court press. These brands are knocking it out of the park. This, my friends, is the speed we've come to expect from this team. Just look at the precision of that move, and it's out of here.
Lowering the shoulder.
Swing and a miss. McKinley scores!
And it's going to be a challenge for us. I mean, they're a really talented football team. I think everybody knows that.
4 wide receivers. Pressure. Steps up. Marshall wants to run again. Cuts down the middle of the field. All alone. Touchdown! Warriors! What a cut.
We could not do this without the great folks of Orchard Lake St. Mary's that have brought us here, led by the czar, Chris Sarnecki, the bench boss of the Orchard Lake St. Mary's Rowing Club. Thank you to Czar. We appreciate it very much. And the production crew that made all this come true on such a cozy day. Doesn't matter. We're here to play, and we loved every moment of it. And our production team was fabulous as well, and I'd like to give them all props. Alex Westfall, your executive producer, Robert Sherby on replay and camera. How about it? Austin Sonnenberg on audio and graphics. Andrew Steele, the man of steel, high in the sky over Orchard Lake, running that drone like a technician. Evan Westfall, also doing some great camera work, amongst other things, on the crew. Chris Armani Rose working that shoreline like nobody's business. Brad the Boss Ross as well, patiently waiting his way in a boat. He was in more boats than he deserved to be in today. What a luxurious ride for the Ross man. Want to thank Michael Parker on color commentary, doing a fabulous job for his second straight year. How about Sienna Smith on the sidelines? Outstanding work by Sienna. Thank you very much. Pat the Stat. How can we forget him? He saved the day multiple times. My name is Chad Bush, proud alum of 1994. Not a rowing alum, but proud of the efforts of Jack Laddie LeBlanc and what he has done, and the namesake of this day, the Latty Cup. Have a great night, everybody. Thanks for watching. So long.